mind this year, Yechiamo. No see a casebo and I was so good to enjoy it. Because you were speaking French this morning. Mind this year. You know the song? La 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 miensa mienu bako. La 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 la. See a see a safe.
Oh, that's the note on which you started this morning.
Yes.
Listening to Abrafo and stuff.
Yes. Okay. So I'm in high spirits this morning, and I'm wearing my favorite color. And it's the midweek of the last week of March 2024. It's gone pretty fast, hasn't it?
It has. And for us Catholics, this is Passion Week. Not probably, the most important week in, the calendar for us. And it's a special week. Passion Sunday, and now we're going through the week, and then it will be climaxed with the most important day.
Easter.
Actually not Easter, Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Because that is
the
when
day Jesus got betrayed.
And died.
Yeah.
When our salvation, the night into that day, and then when our salvation was won for us.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Easter is when we put on the white and celebrate. But the key day is Good Friday. We call it good. It is good for us.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so good for him.
Yeah. He died for our good. So
Exactly.
I guess that's where it's coming from.
By his stripes, we're healed. So, yeah.
Right. That's how we welcome you to the start of this midweek edition of the AM show with Sweetie Abochi and
Benjamin Akako. Let's zoom right into our proverbs for the day. Wise sayings, adage, pearls of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. But I'm starting with this one. And it permeates different cultures. It is simply this. Obi nchire akwada nyame. Obi nchire akwada nyame. Literally, no one teaches a child about God, a higher being. Somehow it is wired inside of us. And they know. But it also alludes to something that when you look at creation, the other day I was reading a story about science and some things and how everything fit perfectly for our existence on Earth. And you can tell that there's a reason there's H2O, right? And we need water. 60+% of our bodies consist of water and all of that. So when you look at nature, you see God in there. And literally, you don't have to be told. That is why the Bible also says, it is the fool who says there's no God. So that's my word of wisdom or proverb for you this morning.
That's something to really reflect on. And
yes, indeed.
I don't think it's too different from what I have in mind. Simply Jakpata Bedevio Manyaku. I'm sure you've heard this before. That Jakpata Bedevio Manyaku. Jakpata says the child does not know death. So the child is playing with fire and you say, stop it. He doesn't understand what's,
until he gets burned, he will not get the proper conception of it.
We are here shouting, our leaders, they don't understand that there are repercussions for their actions. We are the people that the power resides in. So if we are saying, be careful how you're playing us, we are telling you that you're playing with fire.
I'm going to try to be careful. But it actually resonates more with what I gave yesterday. What was it even? Let me just get it. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you give the counsel, it will not until you face that trial and tribulation.
Yeah, so let the child play with fire. You just, maybe that's the right way to learn, you know, when it gets burnt a little. But right in a bit, we're getting into the news and then the news review after that. Today, we are joined by NDC parliamentary candidates for K2 North, Eric Edemagbana. He'll be our guest for the news review. And then Muftar Nabil Abdullahi will come here and present his segment on AM Sports.
Well, from there, we'll get into our big stories for the day. And there was a meeting yesterday between the NLC, the National Labour Commission, and the three striking teacher unions, that is NATS, NAGRAT, and the CCTGH. Now, our checks show that the National Labour Commission has partly resolved the concerns of the teacher unions. You know, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana had core issues, about 6+ of them. 3 of those have been resolved, and now there is some progress that is being made, like the conditions of service for them, for example. But they remain on strike. They say until everything is dealt with, they are not returning to post. Joining us for the discussion on that, Dr. Clement Apak is Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Education Committee. We also have Ofosu Asamoah, Executive Secretary, National Labour Commission. And also on that beat, Dr. Peter Anti, he's Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies.
Now that's happening in the sector of education, but also on the show, Locked Up Investment Holders Forum. That's a forum which seeks the release of locked up investments in licensed financial institutions to investors, and they are protesting the delay in the release of their funds. So the group is converging at the premises of one of such entities today, holding up their funds. So we'll be live from the picketing grounds and bring you up-to-the-minute update on how that is going.
Well, we're still in Ghana Month, and in our series for today, we explore the role of market women in Ghana's quest to gain independence 67 years ago. Do you remember that coin, right? I think it's the 50 peso coin in the past and currently as well. That woman and the role she played as far as the Osajefo is concerned. There were market women who were part of the struggle for independence. A lot of them have been forgotten. What is their story? We'll bring you that later on the show.
And then we'll bring you AM Business, courtesy of EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Today, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has revealed that the ministry will soon sign a memorandum of understanding with the independent power producers to aid in restructuring its arrears. The minister admits the arrears are huge, hence the need for government to expedite its engagement with the IPPs to avoid power outages and huge energy sector debt. All that in AM Business this morning when we get to that segment. And then you get to join us in the conversation. Have we invited them on since we came in the studio? Have we had some calls here yet?
We have just been doing our thing. But yeah, not too late. Better late than never.
Yeah.
We're inviting all of you over. Come join us in the studio by shooting your messages to us via the live stream and the rest. Let's know what's on your mind. But for now, stick and stay. We're serving you the news. Hot, hot, hot. Stay for breakfast.
Welcome to the AM News. Let's get into the news in detail. Starting with Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says 7,000 fire service personnel have been recruited within 7 years, describing it as unprecedented, with plans of recruiting some more. Speaking at the commissioning of the Fire Academy and Training School at Doya Nkwanta in the Ahafo region, Dr. Bawumia said government is committed to enhancing the capacity of firefighters to perform world-class services. Precious Semevo has more in this report.
Over 30 acres of land at Doya Nkwanta in the Tanonof district of the Ahafo region fully commenced in March 2023. The first phase has an administration block, classrooms, dormitories, and a training square. Ahead of the commissioning, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said the fire training school becomes the third in Ghana, with 2 of them by the NPP government in 2024 to train recruits for firefighting services. He said the government is committed to improving the capacity of the service after recruiting over 7,000 personnel in 7 years.
It is gratifying to note that the Ghana National Fire Service recorded remarkable reduction in fire outbreaks in 2023 as compared to 2022. When we came into office, the fire service had a total of 8,000 personnel. Just after 7 years, we have added 7,000 personnel to the Ghana National Fire Service. This is an 88% increase. This achievement, spearheaded by the MPP government, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, showcases the administration's commitment to enhancing the capabilities of our firefighting force to provide world-class emergency firefighting and rescue services to the good people of this great country of ours. The assurance here is that the MPP government is even more poised to recruit more personnel into the Ghana National Fire Service to meet international standards and ensuring a fireman to citizen ratio of 1 to 800.
Chief Fire Officer Julius Kuno said the training school underscores the importance attached to professional development. He expressed concerns about behaviors by some individuals that frustrate their work.
We continue to grapple with more attacks on personnel and appliances as some incidents, and therefore urge the public to cooperate as personnel are committed and dedicated to duty even to the peril of their lives. We also continue to receive false alarms from mischievous members of the public. In 2023, we received 691,591 of such false alarms. Such calls dropped or delayed genuine distress calls for lead. Your Excellency, I am obliged on behalf of the entire service to express our sincere gratitude to government and assure you that these buildings and equipment will put to good use and maintain to prolong our lifespan.
Parliamentary candidate for the NPP in Tanonof, Dr. Gideon Boakon, expressed delight with the opportunities available in the school for qualified applicants in his constituent. Precious Semevo, Joy News, Duan Kwanta.
The Ofinso Municipal Security Council in the Ashanti region has banned former boss of the Ghana National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Kofi Kodia-Sapong, from holding himself as paramount chief of the Ofinso traditional area. As the council institutes measures to safeguard peace in the area, KK Sapong has also been cautioned against holding any public event under the guise of being a chief. This follows a viral social media video in which the former GNPC boss received pleasantries from well-wishers who referred to him as a rightful Ofinso Hene. Oheming Tewia of our security desk has more in the following report.
Construction of the Fire Academy and Training School.
The race for the selection of the new paramount chief for Ofinso became intense following the death of Ofinso Mahine Nana Fiakenten III. The former boss of GMPC, Dr. KK Sapong, was twice rejected by the Asantehene after being presented twice by the embattled Ofinso Queen Mother, Nana Sewa Nyakon. The Asantehene later accepted a new candidate who swore oath of allegiance under the stool name Nana Dwamna-Kenten II. The events preceding the installment caused Nana Sewa Nyakon, who was destooled by the Asantehene for insubordination. But Dr. KK Sapong, in a recent viral video, is seen receiving well wishes who called him out as a true paramount chief of Ofinso. The embattled Queen Mother also wrote a letter to the Ofinso Municipal Chief Executive on March 13, 2024, announcing Dr. KK Sapong as the new Omahini nominee. This latest development has raised security concerns in the area. Here is the chairman of the Municipal Security Council, Kingsley Owusu-Apia, who first admitted the development is a security concern.
The Queen Mother, he wrote a letter to us that he has nominated Dr. KK Sapong as a chief. He quoted the Chieftaincy Act. So he wrote to council members, and though the council, I'm the chairman, that we should accord Dr. KK Sapong as a chief. Then we also wrote back to the Queen Mother that so far as the Security Council is concerned, Nana Dwamna-Kenten II is the chief. So we don't have any chief apart from Nana Dwamna-Kenten. I have not seen the video, but so far as we are concerned, the Security Council is concerned. We have only, here we have two chief palace. One is at Old Town and the other one is at New Town. KK Sapong cannot go there to sit there as a chief. Maybe he did it, the video maybe circulating. I haven't seen it, but maybe he did it at his bedroom. Maybe he did it at the bedroom, because he can't do it at the open space. Well, because we have only one chief. So here, you know, you have been in town. There is peace here. There is peace. So Keke Sapon is not the chief. In Ashanti region, you can't fight with Otumfuo. Keke Sapon cannot sit in public and claim himself to be a chief. For people who will not, the Security Council will not allow that.
According to him, measures have been put in place to prevent an escalation.
We have two palaces, one at Offensu New Town, one is at Old Town. The police is guiding there every day. So, because we don't want anybody who claims himself to be a chief to go there and sit there. The police are in front of the two palaces.
At a meeting of the Official Traditional Council on Monday, some members called for the transfer of police personnel for compromising on security management. The new Offenso Hine, Nana Dwamena Kenten, has cautioned against any deed disrespecting the authority of the Asante Hine. Nana Kwaku Wiafe is a linguist.
Sebi omo boy ho ban no na sebi se be ka bibi kire mu na mo se ye be ye ho adwuma na amfa sebi asojafo a memudi a na kyese ye kwa na se ye bai eno na nananom na omo e ka bibi fa apolisifoɔ ho no se ba ye na no ye koda otumfo ase ye hu se moto be 50 eguaye yene e wo kuro yi mu ye kono mu ye sa de no ye mu se ye ho se omutimi che ba akumpo.
Meanwhile, one of the royal families, Asuna Akonkodiase, has pleaded allegiance to the new Omanhene as they disown the ex-queen mother, a member of the family. Akwasi Owusu-Afriye speaks for the family. Akwasi Owusu-Afriye speaks for the family.
She became the queen mother because he is a family member of the Akonkodiase family. She rather disowned us. Because at least she was given the mandate to choose somebody from any of the two. But we being what Akonkodiase is where she can, we thought that she will choose somebody from us.
From Offenso in the Ashanti region for Joy News, Oimintiwia reporting.
An engineer is making a case for transport innovations that promote environmental sustainability. Chairman of the Secretarial Advisory Board of the Regional Transport Research and Education Center, Kumasi, of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. John Bernard Koranteng York, thinks the use of electric vehicles, expanding public transit networks, among others, are essential in this direction.
Speaking at the 2024 Truck Innovation Week in Kumasi, Dr. John Bernard Koranteng York also called for innovations in policy making and governance.
This would involve introducing new ideas, technologies, policies and practices that contribute to advancement of equitable, resilient and sustainable transportation system. I'm talking about innovation that aim to ensure access of transportation services and infrastructure for all citizens, regardless of your socioeconomic status. This may involve designing inclusive public transport system, improving accessibility for people with disabilities, and implementing innovative fare structure so to make transport more affordable while curbing poverty. I'm referring to innovation focused on building robust, adaptable transport infrastructure that can withstand and recover from various shocks as well. I'm also referring to innovation that promote environmental sustainable modes of transportation, reduce greenhouse gas emissions and minimize environmental impact. This may include promoting the use of electric vehicles, expanding public transit network, supporting active modes such as walking and cycling.
The Trek Innovation Week is under the theme Promoting Transport Equity, Resilience and Sustainability. The 3-day event will serve as a platform to showcase groundbreaking research, cutting-edge technologies and transformative ideas that are shaping the future of transport engineering. It will feature seminars, panel discussion and networking opportunities. Provost of the KNUST College of Engineering, Professor Kwabna Birichum Nyako, encouraged participants to share ideas to drive the sector.
Week of innovation, I encourage each of you to embrace the spirit of curiosity, exploration and discovery. Take advantage of the various activities, seminars, panel discussion and networking opportunities.
Vice Chancellor of the Ghana Communication Technology University, Professor Ohene Efuakwa, has challenged students to make the necessary sacrifices to achieve excellence. He wants these students to cut back sleep and work hard to attain greatness.
Listen and write this down.
Okay.
There is no secret to greatness in life.
Prof is ready to hear.
There is no easy way to greatness in life. You have to toil to be able to achieve it. If you want to achieve greatness that is sustained, you have to earn it.
Earn it.
If you steal it, it will go the same way as you stole it.
Stole it. Perfect.
So the height that great men, the height, you are short, height that great men reached and kept. So you are able to reach there as a height, and then you sustain it. We're not attained by sudden flights. So it's not like you've put a stone in a catapult and then shoot it, and then within a second you get there. No, it doesn't work like that.
It takes time.
But those, whilst their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. If you want to become successful, they say everybody should sleep 8 hours. I tell you, if you sleep 8 hours, that's normal for everybody to sleep 8 hours. But I tell you that if you sleep 8 hours, you can't achieve greatness. You will be a normal person. So you go to work, you are just a normal staff, you are paid the normal, then you can't afford a car, you can't build a house, your life will be normal. If you want to be super normal, to become successful and to be great, you have to cut down on the hours of your sleep and put those hours of your sleep.
Moving on, learning outcomes in the lower primary level have been positive 4 years after the play-based learning initiative was intensified in some schools across the country. Revealing this at an event to assess the impact of the initiative in Accra on Tuesday, Deputy Education Minister Reverend Ntim Fojo highlighted how the learners are now able to communicate, recall what they learn and exhibit talents because of the confidence gained. Hannah Odame has been speaking to facilitators and learners about this impact and which the minister talked about.
What is meant? Play-based learning, introduced in some schools in Ghana, has been identified as one of the measures helping to improve learning outcomes of learners, especially in numeracy, literacy, and science. The initiative, which involves infusing play in teaching methods, helps the learners easily remember lessons and build their confidence as they exhibit their skills effortlessly. Wendy Ejapoma Isidu, a facilitator for 16 years, tells Joy News she's seen massive improvement in the outcomes of her students since she started applying the play-based method 4 years ago.
Let's take data collection, for example. Do you remember this game we used to play as children? Those who were born on Monday, get up, let's dance. Yes, with data collection, when you introduce it with the learners, so those who were born on Monday, get up, let's dance. Monday borns will gather at one place. Tuesday borns, Wednesday borns, they all gather. Now, let us count the members in the group. they will count. We are 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this group, how many were you? Madam, we were 5. Tuesday, how many were you? Madam, we were 6. This way, they will never forget that. If you want to get the number in the data, you gather it, you count it, then you record it.
With this system of teaching, we avoid the instances where teachers and facilitators use the theoretical way of teaching. It becomes more practical. So with this method, we have a long way to cover the entire class.
Some students of the Youngsters International School testified of how learning through play has helped them in their academics.
When we are using play-based, it's fun and easy, and it helps to stick in our head.
It's much more easier and understanding. So I really loved how it is done.
I like this lesson because it helped me understand and remember this lesson.
Speaking at an event to assess the impact of the play-based initiative in some schools across the country, Deputy Education Minister Reverend Intim Fojo revealed the training of more facilitators for the program so it can be rolled out across the country.
We are overcoming learning poverty. We are also imbibing in our learners the 21st century skills, critical competencies of communication, critical thinking, collaboration. And so the future of this country is very bright. And so the ministry intends to go to scale.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
On that note, it's a wrap for the AM News on the AM Show. Up next is the news review. Stick with us from now till 10 a.m.
Right, so it's been 67 years since Ghana gained its independence. That was somewhere in 1957. And we understand some market women played a critical role in ensuring Ghana gained its independence at that time. Right behind me, you can see a number of hats here, and understand there's a story behind that. I have Gladys Adinura, who is the sculptor. She'll be telling us what these hats mean. Gladys, you were running me through some stories. What exactly is it?
The independence of Ghana is not complete without the stories of the market women who helped Nkrumah attain independence. The hats represent our market women for whom I'm having these exhibitions. The independence story of Ghana over the years has missed the role that market women played in Ghana's attaining independence. The market women who helped Kwame Nkrumah attain independence with the resources that they had. So this is what the exhibition is about, more an educational exercise. Mm-hmm.
Right, so where are these hats coming from?
The hats are coming from a number of markets, Agbogloshi Market, Makola Market, and then under a bridge, on Graphic Road, where you have the tomato market. They are coming from there. And the individual hats used to belong to market women. And the hat becomes an appropriated object that I'm using in the installation, and it's conceptual art. So the concept of the hat, what does it do? How does it relate to the market woman? One hat is a story of the lifetime of a woman. Goes out to sell, comes back, and so the hat is part of her story and a part of her. So don't see it as a hat, but see it as a story of one woman. Mm-hmm.
Right. You were telling me about some of the comments Dr. Kwame Nkrumah made in 1957 with respect to independence about these market women. What exactly are they?
Kwame Nkrumah said that in the struggle for independence, one market woman is worth more to me than 10 Achimota School graduates. And Kwame Nkrumah was an Achimota School graduate himself. So for him to make such a statement is profound. How important it was for him, how significant the women's help to him was.
What were some of the role these women were playing when Kwame Nkrumah came and all that? What exactly were they doing to support Ghana's independence?
The main that they could rally a crowd quickly, and suddenly there's a crowd here and there's a rally going on. They cooked for those who attended the rallies. They sang songs that was praising Nkrumah and what he was going to do. And these things will catch on in the community. So people start singing the songs. They had textiles, fabrics made with Nkrumah's head in it. And even I realized from my research that Pedwale Lodge was built by the market women for Nkrumah. And he handed it over to the state. So the women had done a lot for him. And he was grateful for what they had done, even by this statement. Mm-hmm.
How many hats have you collected so far from these women?
I have 26. And 26 because no one wants to give up her hat. Sometimes you want to give them a new one and get what they have used, because that is what carries the story. And so over a couple of months, this is what we've been able to collect, and we are still collecting.
Just from the general market women, regardless of what you sell?
No, regardless of what you sell, just general market women. We tell them what we are doing with it, and those who are into it give it to us. Other people too, I guess, a bit superstitious, not sure of what you are going to do with their hats. Mm-hmm.
I could also see some crates there, would go there and know what exactly those crates are also meant for. And right behind me, you could see some crates, and I understand these are also meant for these market women who supported Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Grace, tell me, how many do you have?
We have 31 boxes, and each one is telling its own story. You notice that they have names on them, some nicknames, some quotations from the Bible, and these crates have also traveled the journeys. So this is also part of the installation. Yeah.
Did they share with you some of the meanings? Do we have in the Bible verse and all that? Can you run me through some of them?
Some of them are blessing girl, Isaiah chapter 54:5, one God, Jesus. They tend to be religious, most of the sayings, and some have just numbers 1, 4, 3, and so on. And I understand if there's 1, 4, 3 on one, you will have on that track. So in the market, she makes sure she has the 21, 4, 3 boxes, and that is theirs. That's how they identify which one belongs to them.
I'm also seeing some, I don't know if that's a coin or something.
Artworks that proposals for monuments to honor Ghanaian women. And those are the designs that have been created. So these are the miniatures, the sketch models of the monument that's to come. The 3 women I identified for my work was Agnes Oforiwa Tego Kwakupom, who is called Auntie Oforiwa. Then you have Mary Ayele Laye, that is Ikua Shoshosho. And then this one who is more popular, Rebecca Nadede Ayete, that's Auntie Dede. And I guess she's popular because she was poisoned, I think, before she was 30 at a tea party in Ho. So these 3 women are those that I have identified. There are more of them, and the research is still going.
That was the day being poisoned?
Yeah, Dede Ashikinshan.
What's the story about Auntie Oforiwa and this?
Auntie Oforiwa is also a financier, and Nkrumah actually lived in a house when he started his campaigns. And then Mary Ayele also was one of the market queens that were supporting Nkrumah.
I'm also seeing a big one here, the unsung market women. What is this also about?
This is also the proposal for a monument for the market women, and by extension for Ghanaian women. You know, women have two sides, the nurturing part and then that part that serves community. That is almost never heard about. You can go behind it to see what is at the back.
On it, I could see Mary Ayele, Agnes Oforiwa, Tego, and also Rebecca Na Dede. So basically what we saw here.
Yes, all three are on the monument here now, creating one big monument.
I should believe there's a Jinyame.
Yeah, Jinyame, the sign is, relating to the work they did, their strength and the boldness. You know, when you look at this, what does it remind you of?
This had to do with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah during the Declaration of the Independence.
So that is, let me call it, iconic image of the Declaration of Independence. And I'm saying that these women should have been there. So it's the same scene, but you have the women instead of Nkrumah standing there in their batakaris.
See that because they supported Nkrumah?
Yeah, because they were part of the success. So whilst it was being announced, they should have been part of it, you know. And what is up there, bold to defend forever the cause of freedom and of rights. At that time, these women thought to defend our freedoms and our rights. And so they came together with Nkrumah to let that happen.
Right. I could also see some 50 pesos. What is it about, especially being in the sun and all that? I'm seeing Rebecca Nadidi still here once again, 1923. I should believe she died in 1961.
Yes. Just after independence. You know. So these are artworks also imitating the nature of a coin that has two sides. You know. Now, Bede has been put on the 50 peso coin, and even the image on the 50 peso coin is really not her face. I believe it was just a face of a woman they created, but that is her, and I created the other faces of the women I identified. And now, you know, the idea of the coins in the sand, you have something that is valuable but is hidden. The contributions of the women were valuable contributions but hidden in the history of Ghana. When independence is being talked about, we hardly hear about them. And then also the sand was the first contact with the Europeans and us on our shores. And it is this same sand that brought them that the women want to let them go. Leave our shores and let us be free. So that is the idea here. You see behind the coins you have the crates. Some have the Independence Declaration scene, and this one also with the star.
How many do we have here?
This is about
almost 30.
So this is Auntie Dede, and then at the end you have Agnes Tego Kwakupom, Auntie Oforiwa. The others we are still identifying. And the historian, she's helping me to identify them.
And these are all market women at the time?
All market women at the time.
Do we know what exactly they were selling?
She was selling flour. She was more fabric and other items. And then she was also
played in ensuring that Ghana gained its independence some 67 years back. And even up until today, you could see the number of women within our SME space who are really doing well to support Ghana's economy. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
Welcome back on the AM show. It's time now for the news review. And my guest this morning is my intelligence co-host, Benjamin Akako. It's good to have you on as my guest for the news review, Benjamin.
It's good to be here, and I want to say something. I want to be up to mischief, but I'm not going to be up to mischief because we were also expecting a gentleman I can see already who's shown up. And when he joins us, I'll flay him. I'll lash him a little, just
for keeping us waiting.
Yeah, for keeping us waiting, which is why we had to. But we have quite a number of papers. Before we get into them, and before we bring in our guest as well, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment every weekday, and today is no different. Here's what they're offering you: if you're a man, prostate screening for free. Do you know where your prostate is? It's part of your reproductive setup. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free. Your womb, your cervix, everything in between. When was the last time you screened yourself? And especially if you've never given birth and you're thinking, oh, everything is okay, you just might find out to your dismay that things are not exactly kosher. Which is why you should make your way to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And they have branches dotted across the country. Here in the Kratz Pintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronomabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiama and Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And the start of the news review, we'll get into some of those interesting topics, and then when Edem Agbana joins us shortly, we shall look at some others. Would you like to start for us?
On the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, there's a story here about Bawumia hits road with bold promises. There's also the story, the rather sad story about Funny Face, Ghanaian comedian or comic actor, who's been caged over an accident. We know he had been dealing with some issues, family issues for some time. And then there's another story here. I'll just do the headlines briefly before we get into the actual stories. FIDA pushes for female NPP running mate. It looks like pressure is mounting on flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party to select a female running mate for women representation. Also because it augurs well for them as a party, as John Mahama has taken the lead on that.
There's an interesting bit on that because in the custodian, I wouldn't necessarily have gone there, but make history with female running mate groups to Bawumia. So
it's just mountain pressure for him to choose. There were names put out about a month ago. There were some names that were put out. There was Frema Opare was there.
The chief of staff, I think.
Even Eslo Usu was in there.
In there. Among some others.
It's taking them some time, but hopefully soon they will tell us who.
Well, if you're going to make a good choice, and it will take you time to do that. But you remember, I always allude to what Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu said when we had that interaction. He said, listen, he's not his own man, and so he's going to struggle to choose a running mate. But hey, it's their wahala. They have to deal with the situation. I'm not a politician, and I'm not a member of any party, so.
But perhaps we are the agency that would actively twist the arms. He said that it would take some political arm twisting for them to come back to power, right?
So he was basically alluding. I asked him whether it was possible for the MPP to win the 2024 elections, and he said it would take some arm twisting. In fact, he said that it would be the stolen verdict.
Right.
It would be a stolen verdict if that were to happen. And so that is what the picture looks like.
You heard about the Senegalese president, the youngest president of Africa. The 44-year-old
with 2 wives. Bassirou Faye.
That story is also here on page 5 of the Daily Guide newspaper. I think I would like to start with that, and then we can work our way into issues in the country. Senegal's opposition leader set to become president. He already is. It says Senegalese
they've not gone through the swearing-in process.
Yes, but he's won the polls.
So he's president-elect.
Yes, 44-year-old opposition leader Bassirou Diomaye Faye was named the country's next president on Monday, less than 2 weeks after being released from prison to run in the election.
It was actually 10 days or so.
Yeah.
So 10 days after being released from prison, you are president. It's an amazing feat.
That's Nelson Mandela in Nkrumah gameplay.
Robben Island.
That's okay. So now let's do that story about Dr. Mamadou Bawumia hitting the road with bold promises. Vice President Bawumia has promised to add 2,000 megawatts of solar power to the national grid when he becomes president. This is in view of the increasing cost of power on the business community and, to a large extent, the ordinary Ghanaian. He believes that will bring down the cost to a significant minimum. Dr. Bawumia, who is the flag bearer of the NPP, made this commitment when he met the leadership and members of the Council of Indigenous Business Association in Accra on Monday. Welcome to the show, Mr. Eric Edem Agbana.
Thank you, Suti, and my...
Benjamin has a few comments.
He appeared out of nowhere. If
yes.
We are not performing miracles like that Kenyan pastor who performed miracles. And the government said, for the sake of the fact that we can get these people off the list of beneficiaries, show us those whom you cured, those who were with disabilities. And Opana is hot. So it's not like that situation. But Eric Edem Agbana is here now. I was about to do my blunt thoughts on you this morning because you should have been in this studio quite a while ago.
Well, I think that
somehow you are now appearing.
Yeah, I think there was some miscommunication with the time. Yes,
but it's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
So the story but let's get right into it.
Okay.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been making some promises, lots of promises. Now he's saying that he will fix our power crisis.
Well, let me say good morning to our cherished viewers across the world and to say thank you to you and your production team for the opportunity this morning. I have always maintained that every election is a verdict on the performance of the government. And so Ghanaians are going into the polls and they will make a decision on the NPP, not based on promises, but based on their performance in government for the last 8 years. And so I have been following the Bawumia campaign, listening to the many promises and all of that. But I think that it's important for us to understand properly that Dr. Bawumia, as vice president and now flag bearer of the NPP, is free to make promises, just like any other candidate will. We've heard other candidates make promises of dredging the sea in Kumasi and all of that. And so everybody will be making promises. But the track record of the one making the promise is what will count. And when it comes to track record, Dr. Bawumia is one politician in Ghana who is noted for making several juicy, flowery promises that he never fulfills. And we have thousands of such promises that we can talk about. Many promises.
Name five. Name five of those.
5. Dr. Bawumia told us that when in government, he will make sure that the government does not borrow.
He said that?
Yes, he said that.
That he will make sure that government never borrow?
Yes, he said that they will never borrow for development.
I don't remember that.
No, he said
IMF
when did
the IMF
he say
is even a
this?
different one. He said in 2016, in one of his lectures, I think the one at the Central University, he said that I have been at the Bank of Ghana. I know that the money is there. We don't have to borrow, and we will not borrow. That is there. It's one. Okay. Dr. Bawumia told us that he will use concrete to construct our roads. Where are the concrete roads? Dr. Bawumia told the people of Ghana that he was going to ensure that we have sky trains. Where are the sky trains? Dr. Bawumia told the good people of Ghana that he would ensure that Ghana, in terms of the exchange rate, he will ensure that the exchange rate is better than he met it. As we speak today, you are changing $1 for 13 cedis, 70 pesos, and so that he has not been able to...
It's actually more from yesterday.
So it's actually more. I am not updated because I just drove in from my constituency. So Dr. Bawumia again told the good people of Cape Coast that he was building for them a harbor and an airport. That is another promise he's not been able to fulfill. Dr. Bawumia told the good people of Ghana. So I can give you countless examples of such promises that he made that he's not been able to fulfill. So when such a person is making a promise again, Ghanaians are going to view him for who he is. We know him as somebody who makes good promises, as somebody who makes bold promises, somebody who makes flowery promises, but he never fulfills them, and he has no intention to fulfill them.
Let's continue in that thoughts, and let me ask you this. Did you hear the Energy Minister's comments on the call for a timetable, a schedule for load shedding, and the statements released by the Ministry of Energy, saying that he was caught at the wrong time. His voice, the way he sounded, it's because he was struggling to speak in a noisy room, and that we've misconstrued the implications of his words.
I saw the statement from the Ministry of Energy, and coincidentally, it was signed by a very good friend of mine, Kofi. Kofi and I were in Legon together, Kofi Abrefa, and that statement, I think that if they had not released the statement, it would have been better, because the statement further embarrassed the Energy Minister. I have always maintained one thing, that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, when you meet him in person, is one nice politician. He will be nice. But Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh has a very big issue with communication and how he speaks on issues on several occasions. You recall when he was Minister for Education and there was a challenge with the computerized selection system and placement. He went on air and said it was John Dramani Mahama who bussed people to the Independence Square to come and agitate. Such an irresponsible statement from the minister at the time. This same man, when he was minister and he appeared on a sister station at Sempa, and he was asked about why government did not include the tidal waves, or when the tidal waves rocked the parts of the Volta region, why government did not include that in their budget. He actually said because the people did not vote for the MPP, he doesn't think that it was proper for them to include them and all of that. The same person, you are Minister for Energy, going around this country, lobbying, going around churches that you want to be named running mate. We have a major issue, power crisis. Instead of you to focus on fixing the problem, you are telling us, the people of Ghana, you look into our face and you tell us to prepare the timetable. I'm sure you have observed that on social media, many people are really preparing the timetable for him, because the truth is that
Benjamin, did you see the timetable that someone...
A lot of people.
Somebody wrote
there are many people who have put that up. Even Ras Mubarak, a member of the minority caucus, has his own timetable.
Yes. So I mean, I think that he should admit that he made a statement that was irresponsible. He made a statement that was reckless. And you see, we are humans. Sometimes you may, out of emotions, make statements that may not, after sober reflection, you come to the realization that those statements may not be right. And so I think that it's important for him as a leader to admit that he made a mistake. But to say the environment was noisy, that is why he had to strain his voice and all of that, I think that it's a way too much of mockery over this comment.
Well,
and just a quick one. Of course, my attention has just been drawn to the fact that, of course, Ras Mubarak is not essentially. Yes, he used to be. My apologies for that, because he lost in his primary. But the essence of this, right? Baumia to inject 2,000 megawatts of solar power. Whether or not he's being honest with this, that one it's not up to me. Yes. But I'm asking. I've heard, I think, Edward Bauer, who is in Parliament, a member of the minority caucus, among others, say that, listen, whoever takes over, I think even yesterday, I don't know whether it was Dr. Etiahene or Dr. Khalid who said it, whoever takes over in 2025 is going to face another power crisis. My question then, how will a future NDC government, if you win, tackle it?
So when we win power in 2024 and duly sworn in 2025, the energy sector is one of the most critical sectors that we will be looking at. We have a track record of addressing the...
We know it's a crucial issue. I want you to tell me, what will you do?
So, you have to build on something. What will we do? We have said that currently the biggest problem of the energy sector is mismanagement. Because it is not even an issue of generating capacity. This same government, a couple of months ago, accused the NDC of excess capacity. So if today they are still talking about adding megawatts, the question is, what happened to the so-called excess capacity.
But the reality is that from late 2021 into early 2022, we did not have excess capacity. You are aware of that?
The problem is that we have the capacity to generate enough. But what is lacking is that they don't have the finances to fuel these plants. Because as we speak today, government owes in excess of 1.5 billion to the IPPs. There is an arrangement called the waterfall mechanism.
Cash waterfall.
The cash waterfall mechanism, which allows the ECG, as the revenue generating agency within the sector, to allocate part of the revenues that they generate to the other players within the sector. Are you aware that for more than a year, ECG collects or gets the revenue, but they are not able to allocate to the other IPPs? And so government is owing. So for most of these independent power producers, they are either producing at half capacity or even below half capacity. That is why we have the problems that we have.
So where do you come in?
When the NDC comes into power, we are going to ensure that as a matter of priority and as a matter of urgency, we pay off these debts and begin to manage the sector prudently. And the NDC foresaw, we envisaged such a day, and that is why we introduced what we call the ESLA. Don't forget the ESLA came in to address what we call the legacy debt within the energy sector. ESLA is expected to give the government about $800 million annually. But governments increase even the rate of ESLA. They collect the money, but the money is not being used to address the energy sector debt. And so what we have today is that we have the capacity to generate more. It's not a matter of generating capacity we have. What government lacks is the ability to pay for the fuels, is the ability to pay for food production.
Quick question. We all know that, even with the WAPCO situation and gas and all
exactly.
of that. My question, though, is you say the inability of government to pay. How will you be able to pay? And you can learn from the example of Rawlings to Kufuor. Kufuor came in and said, some of the things we said, Charlie, we came in and looked at the coffers and realized that things weren't what they were. You could come to that realization. You've been crying corruption. You could come in and realize that the state kitty doesn't have what you think it has. You have a program that is being facilitated by the IMF.
Yes.
You are highly indebted and all of that. Where are you going to get the money to do the other things that government now can't do it? If now they can't do it, even when they are trying to win an election, what makes you think if you won the election, you'd be able to do it? Where will you get the money from?
Great. So what government under John Dramani Mahama did was that when we introduced the ESLA, it was dedicated solely for the purpose of paying the legacy debt within the energy sector. It was not used for other government projects, government infrastructure, and all of that, solely dedicated to the energy sector, and the records are there. But as we speak today, government is unable to account for ESLA. They are not able to account for what the money is being used for. Our challenge is that when you go to the public sector, for most of the government institutions, they are not even able to pay the debts that they owe the Electricity Company of Ghana. Meanwhile, huge amounts of monies are being approved for them yearly. Meanwhile, government is still borrowing. And so it is a matter of accountability at the center. And that is where the problem is. Are you aware that as we speak today, the ECG is moving around the various secondary schools, various hospitals, issuing threats that if the Ministry of Finance is unable to pay, we are taking you off the national grid. And so it's a matter of priority that government is unable to focus on the things that matters most to the Ghanaian. Government, so the same government that tells you that they have no money, to pay this electricity debt for us to have light. The same government spent over $240 million.
You are talking on the African Games.
On the African Games. And when you speak about they say that it's not a matter of priority.
Listen, I may have my problems with the African Games. Before Sweetie continues with that paper, I may have my problems with the African Games in terms of cost and everything. But we were fully aware these are things that come up, and we were hosting. It's like hosting the AFCON. We actually had to plead for more time. So we didn't do it in 2023. We did it in 2024. It's something that you've taken upon yourself. It was meant to bring glory to the country. And like it or not, you have to do some of the things that were done.
I love that. I'm a sports person. And any opportunity to promote sports in this country is one that all of us must welcome. Government, the NDC is not against the government's decision to host the games. But the NDC's position is one. We find ourselves in very, very difficult times. And as a parent or as a man, when you are making a decision, you make the decision based on resources available to you and based on the situations that you find yourself. I'm not sure that it is reasonable for government to spend over $243 million, $243 million on hosting games at a time that very fundamental issues are not addressed.
Well, I think
in our attempt, so in our attempt, in our attempt that we were looking for the glory, we also brought to ourselves embarrassment. For example, because you fail to address the critical issue
we
of electricity.
We don't need to go into the examples.
Yes.
We've spoken about them.
Because you failed to address the issue of electricity, even during the games, when teams were playing, lights went off.
Right.
The entire pitch, which was an embarrassment.
And on that note, Sweetie, get into the other papers. But I also want to apologize because I realized that I've been checking since we started. We couldn't stream the news for you and the news review as well. The internet challenges. So please bear with us. Let's check out.
Let's move to the sector of education from the energy and sports. GetFund says they're about to pay $2.6 billion. This is a story in the Ghanaian Times newspaper on page 9. It says GetFund to pay 2.6 billion Ghana cedis to contractors to complete storage projects. In fact, at the launch of the Ghana Smart Schools project, we interviewed the administrator for GetFund, Dr. Richard Boydie, where he said for the first time that Parliament had approved this budget to pay off contractors in the arrears for over a year or so. And it's a step in the right direction. I think it came on the back of the question that, is this what we need? Because teachers are on strike. There are issues about the quality of food served in senior high schools and all that. And they're saying that they're actually working towards eliminating all these challenges that are faced in our education sector.
You think GetFund is a very, very important agency of government. And since 2018, 2019, GetFund has been mortgaged for several loans. And that is the reason why there are many GetFund projects that are uncompleted, that have stalled, and we are all hoping that indeed if they pay the 2.6 billion, it should be enough. But I doubt if
enough. You know that INAT is threatening to go to demonstrate because they've not uncapped GetFund. Those are also some issues.
So those are the issues.
Right.
Those are the real issues on the ground. And so these announcements that we have released or we have approved, 2.6 billion, they are welcome. We all want to see the projects completed. When you come to my constituency, there are several GetFund projects that are not completed. When you go to my senior high school, Maoli School, there are several GetFund projects that are uncompleted and have been abandoned for several years. When you go to the University of Ghana, there are several GetFund projects that are uncompleted, abandoned for several years. And so all around the country, we have projects littered around that are GetFund projects because of this. But my only issue is that the executive director or secretary may have said that these contracts are in arrears for over a year. Yeah. I know for a fact that there are some contractors since 2015, 2016, 2017, projects executed, certificates presented, GetFund has refused to pay them with the excuse that they don't have the money. I also know many students on GetFund scholarship, especially those outside this country, whose monthly allowance or whatever is supposed to come from GetFund doesn't go again because GetFund tells them that they don't have the money. So I only hope that the 2.6 billion...
You're saying because GetFund tells them they don't have the money. Yes, I have not heard that GetFund tells them they don't have the money.
No, but...
In fact,
does GetFund tell them we don't have the money? That's why we
they don't have. That's what they tell everybody. So what else is the excuse?
You know that the first batch of laptops distributed to teachers was sponsored by GetFund. And even this one student, one tablet initiative, the first 450,000 laptops was sponsored by GetFund.
No, but,
so if you say they're telling
no, but
them,
I am telling you that. I am telling you. And I think that sometimes let's move beyond what we see in the papers and do our own investigations. There are many students on Get Fund Scholarship outside this country whose allowance, sometimes even their fees delays for several months.
Adam, we've had conversations with students in Morocco, I think some parts of Europe
I'm happy.
Russia. So it's not that we don't
Great.
know.
So I'm happy.
My point
I'm
is
happy that it's
you're
confirmed
stating
that
that Get Fund is telling them.
No, but Get Fund tells us. But when they contact them, okay, so what excuse does the Get Fund give them?
The Get Fund doesn't tell them that.
They're working on it. Sometimes
they are working on it. Well, I mean, these are just the semantics.
But let's quickly get into some other stories very quickly because of time. We've spoken about Baumia and the 2,000 megawatts. The Daily Graphic, economy stable, recovery kicks in. I'll be very quick with this. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has assured the public that the country's macroeconomic environment continues to remain stable and signs of economic recovery are emerging. That comes on the back of the government's implementation of the IMF-supported post-COVID-19 program for economic growth. Now, the Finance Minister said, pay attention here, growth was proving to be more resilient and robust than initially programmed, characterized by declining inflation, a largely stabilized exchange rate, improved gross international reserves position, and a declining rate of accumulation of debt after the debt restructuring exercise. Quick reflections.
I mean, the usual. I think that when the economy indeed is stable, when the economy is recovering from the crisis, it must reflect in our pockets. It must reflect in our interaction with the economy. The average Ghanaian, our interaction with the economy is with the issues of transportation. Is the price of or the amount we spend on transportation still stable? Does it keep increasing? These are the issues. How much do we pay for food? What is the standard of living, the cost of living today? And so these are the issues. I think that these things, it is usual for ministers. And I am a student of economics. And as part of economic policy management, one of the things that we are taught is that when you are managing an economy, you ought to always speak positive because speculations can have dire effects on you. And so you don't expect the minister to come and tell us that the economy is not stable. So it is for us, you and I, to judge. So you know what you are feeling in your pocket. And I'm telling you that for the average Ghanaian, our interaction with the economy, we don't see any recovery. We don't see any stability because even this morning, we just confirmed that the exchange rate, which Dr. Baumia told us, was one of the critical keys to determine or the fundamentals to determine whether or not the economy was doing well. The exchange rate is ballooning as we speak, 13.7. or plus, it's likely to hit 14. It's likely to go to 15 if we don't.
So in a nutshell, what you're saying is
the minister only spoke. What? No. I mean, the reality is that the economy is not recovering. The economy is terrible.
Let me just wrap with the Daily Graphic. I'm not doing any more stories, just headlines. A cargo ship hits Baltimore Bridge, bringing it down. I'm sure you followed that story. It must have been scary. Some cars actually fell into the Baltimore River, and then there was a rescue mission. Senegal's president-elect, Bassirou Faye, pledges to fight corruption. I'm all for this man. I hope he dignifies young people because there's a lot of talk about, young people this, young people that. We've even had gray-haired men call young people with beards like me, coconut heads. You know the one I'm speaking about. Katie Hammond, good morning. Man 31 jailed 10 years for human trafficking. He brought them from Onitsha and Anambra State into Ghana. And then Amwa, resolute in pursuit of Paris Olympics sport, though he did not qualify in the African Games. I'm done with the Daily Graphic. Final paper, and then we can
No, I'm done with my papers as well. But I think that's how we're wrapping for the news review.
Just a quick comment on the Senegal.
And maybe I'll do some birthdays quickly that have come in.
Yeah. I think that the people of Senegal must be commended for doing what I would call very historic. The young man is inspiring. I spent yesterday trying to listen to him and read his line of philosophies and then his thinking. And I think that he is a promising young man. I wish Senegal very well. And for me, it has come to vindicate some of us that you are never too young to lead and that the future does not belong to the youth. It is today. We are not leaders of tomorrow. We are leaders today. And so you don't need to be 60 or 70 to be given the opportunity to lead. And I think that is something that is really commendable, and all of us must be happy as young people that Senegal has taken the lead. I pray that in the not too distant future, other countries will follow.
Right.
All right. Maybe some other time we'll get to talk about K2 North, but definitely not today.
Sure.
If you had gotten early enough, we would have been able to talk about it.
How do you find our new studio, though? It's the first time we are hosting you here.
First time here. Very beautiful. I actually argued with the security officer that your studio was there. He said, no, you have moved. I said, no, I was here a couple of days ago. And it's a very beautiful studio. You should host me here more.
Well, happy birthday to Dr. Frank Odame, Medical Director at Medifem Multi-Specialist Hospital and Fertility Center. The message is age graciously and impact more, as always. We love you dearly. And so that is that one. Then there's another one coming through. This one says, Mary Ann Ambaba. Mary Ann. Happy birthday from your brother, Sergeant Ambaba, from General Headquarters, Ghana Armed Forces, Burma Camp. May you continue to follow your bliss. Okay. Live long, my dearest sister. And so that is from your brother. And the final one coming through from Muftau Nabil Abdullah. He says, happy birthday to Mrs. Lucy Awene, former Deputy Regional Minister for Upper East Region and proprietor for Mother Teresa Educational Center. She's from Boku, the Upper East Region. And it's from your niece, Patience Mbun. Those messages coming through. We hosted this morning Eric Edem Agbana, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for K2 North. Edem, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Benjamin, for the opportunity.
You should be thanking Sweetie because I was about to. But right before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They're offering free screening for men for your prostate, free fertility screening for women. Reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra. Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronoma Boy here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takra Danaji State, Tema Committee 22, Techiman Hanswa, and the Siaman Zima. Their call lines 0244 867-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review. Sports is up next. Do stay.
Hello everyone, welcome to AM Sports. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullah. It's been 180 minutes of football, 4 goals conceded, 3 red cards for Otto Addo since taking over the Black Stars coaching job early this month. Well, his first friendly match against Nigeria ended in 2-1 loss, and now he drew 2-2 against Uganda on Tuesday. My colleague Razak Musbao has been following the 2 matches played by the former Borussia Dortmund trainer scout and has more in this report.
Otto Addo made 5 changes to the starter lineup that played against Nigeria, with Ebenezer Annan, Dennis Odoi, Abu Francis, Abdul Fattah Isaaku and Jojo Wallacott coming into the team. Ghana started on a strong foot and created chances, with Jordan Ayew the first to have a go at the Uganda goalkeeper. However, his shot from a free kick in close range was parried away. Crystal Palace forward went on to create the opening goal after his delivery from a corner kick was met by Jerome Opoku, who scored to break the deadlock in the 2nd minute. It was the centre-back's first goal for the Black Stars since making his debut appearance last year. Ghana's joy was short-lived as Stephen Mukwala drew the Cranes leveled 14 minutes after the opening goal of the game. Annan had fouled his marker in the box and the Nortsu-Kotoe forward stepped up to convert the resulting advantage to make it 1-1. Shortly after, the Black Stars won a penalty of their own through Kotoe, who was fouled in the Ugandan box. Jordan Ayew took the responsibility and scored from the spot to restore Ghana's lead, making it 4 goals for him in his last 3 games for the national team. And as Nyama came close to adding a third before the break, but his effort just went over the crossbar as Ghana headed into the recess with a 2-1 lead. The return from the break saw very minimal chances from the two teams, but it was Uganda who looked dangerous anytime they surged forward. Nortsu-Kotoe was forced into a decent save in the 73rd minute after Ghana's defense fell asleep from a Uganda attack. The Cranes were finally rewarded for their efforts 8 minutes later, as Nortsu-Kotoe's save from a header was not dealt with properly, with the opposition scoring from the rebound to make it 2-2. Despite a late attempt for the winner, none of the two teams could find the back of the net as the game ended in a stalemate. The result means Otoado's side failed to win a game during the March international break, having lost to Nigeria in their first friendly.
Now we can hear from Otoado what his thoughts were on the outcome of that game against Uganda.
We didn't win a game, so this is the general summary, which is bad. I think we can we see the first match. I think there was, even though we lost, you could see that there were a lot of positive things still, especially in the second half with 10 men playing good football, having good movements, well positioned. Against a strong Nigerian team with a lot of young players. And yeah, the second match was more difficult for us. And I know that if we want to build something, especially like having ball possession, playing out from the back, there will be mistakes. And with mistakes, sometimes comes a little bit of fear also to make mistakes. So yeah, we have to get over it. It was a good learning today. There were some good parts, but in all, surely it's way too less to play 2-2 against Uganda. We expect more, even though, I mean, a lot of players were missing, I don't have to say. But still, we could have done better. Little bit unlucky with the 2 goals against us, the penalty and the second one. I don't know if it was even a goal, but in all, the football we played was not good enough. We should have created more chances, especially in the final third. We have to work on creating more chances. Finishing must be better under pressure, and it's a lot of work.
Now, let's talk about the African Games. The competition came to an end on Saturday, and the volunteers who contributed to what many have described as a success in Ghana's organization of the competition decided to protest against the local organizing committee, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for their inability to provide them transport money to go back to their various destinations. Well, the letter that was sent to the volunteers before their engagement to work as volunteers for this competition, the letter categorically stated that they were going to be provided breakfast, lunch, and supper, as well as accommodation and internal transport. The letter added that they were supposed to also come with their own pillowcases and pillows so that they could use in their various rooms that were going to be given out to them. However, there appeared to have been a gap in communication, and the volunteers decided to protest and reports suggested that police had to be dispatched there to fire warning shots before they left the hotels that they were asked to evacuate, or they were asked to check out, rather. They were asked to check out of the hotels by 12 noon by the head of the volunteer team. And in a letter that she personally signed, portion of the letter was what I was just mentioning to you. She is Madam Juliana Addo Esquire. She was the person who engaged them. And let's hear from what some of them have to say.
No special package with my money orientation. I'm going to say, I'm going to say, my expect package for them. You know, my Juman in area, even last minute, you got all the boys in the crowd. It is any person, and you have for Musa. Let's see a point of your I say, I check it out 12 o'clock without giving us any money. Oh, my shame, I say, me flee while I want to buy a man.
The budget, and I'm a volunteer. Namu ye volunteer Juman, and I'm for a Sikamaya, I'm buying for the lawyer, and him number. No, yeah, do it, an accident. 7,000 each volunteer. What time 8 million of us at for 4 minutes. 4 minutes, boss. I am only and our Cosman is some volunteer. Ghana near Yama. Fine. But volunteer tomorrow. Or we want to say that the tomorrow Amatabeta. Or
according to the sports minister, so big across the Maya. That big across.
So the 200 cities you are giving me there, it's not and fire. I remember the P and fire. It's almost $5,000 in brand here. Not more money you make almost 5,000.
So we are picking information. Some of the foreign volunteers have been paid some amount. So by comparing that to what they are trying to give us, we think it's a rip-off. So all we are fighting for is that whatever is due us, they should give it to us. Then everybody is expecting.
Massive gap in communication there as volunteers demand allowance to go back to their various destinations. But one thing that is quite clear is the fact that they were told they are only going to be provided with accommodation, breakfast, lunch, and internal transportation. As a copy of the letter, which is available to Joyce Force, said, at no point in that letter was it stated that they were going to be given transportation. However, WhatsApp chats that we have intercepted indicated that Madam Addo had written on the WhatsApp group and told them that they were going to be given about 500 Ghana cedis as their transportation to go back to their various destinations. She, however, did not communicate with the Ministry of Youth and Sports when Joyce was cross-checked with the ministry. And when she later got in touch with the ministry asked her to provide a data of where each volunteer was going to. So she needed to provide who is going to Kumasi, who is going to Tamale, who is going to Cape Coast, and who is going to maybe Elmina. That was when she came back on the WhatsApp group and asked them to provide data of where each person was going to, so that she could send into the ministry for a budget to be approved for them to be paid their TNT and all that. And this was what led to everything escalating to the extent that police were sent over to the place. But now let's still stay on stories that have to do with the African Games. And a member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sports, Kobene Mensah Woyome, he held a press conference on Tuesday and described the organization and Ghana's participation in the African Games as a monumental disaster. According to him, the country could have done better with the organization and participation. Despite Ghana winning 69 medals, which is the highest medals ever won by the country in its participation in the African Games in the previous 12 editions, Mensah Woyome believed that Ghana could have done better.
The just ended games were a monumental disaster and total embarrassment to our dear country. The Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government spent a staggering $240 million on the just-ended games. Yet, the organization and management of the event was poor and shambolic. While the government sacrificed value for money principles and breached procurement procedures, infringed on the Public Financial Management Act, leading to huge expenditure, Ghanaians have been swayed by the frivolous outcome of the games to believe all is well. Given the current state of the Ghanaian economy, which has been rendered bankrupt by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government, emerging details about the hefty expenditure on the games raise eyebrows and concerns among Ghanaians. Several unfortunate incidents that were recorded in the course of the games left many wondering whether that quantum of money was really spent on the games. Another issue of concern was the doomsaw at the Cape Coast Stadium, the Games Village, and the other centers for the games. University of Ghana, Legon in Accra, which left the guests stranded, while the government has been busy denying that doomsaw is back. Doomsaw was advertising itself at the games. It was so embarrassing to have some of our foreign guests sit outside their rooms due to dark shades which had enveloped the entire area. This left most guests in fear and wondered what was happening. This was most embarrassing, knowing very well that we had international guests. Couldn't we have saved our country from this big shame? As if that was not shameful enough, the local organizing committee employed some people to spray the dead grass on the football pitch with green oil paint at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium in total deception. This action clearly affected most of the players on the pitch. How could we have lowered our standard to this level?
Governor Mensa Oyome, ranking member on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Ghana's organization and participation in the African Games. This will wrap up AM Sports here. With me, Muftau Nabila Abla. The show continues right after this.
It's been exactly 1 week since 3 teacher bodies, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, as well as the Concerned Teachers, CCT, declared a nationwide strike on the basis of various issues they've been raising that government needed to attend to. So for the past 1 week, teachers have not been in the classroom. Meanwhile, the students or the pupils in the public basic schools across the country have been going to the schools, but with no teachers in the classrooms. Today, they are all emerging here at the National Labour Commission as we speak. Leadership of the 3 teacher unions are currently in a closed-door meeting with the National Labour Commission, trying to arrive on a consensus to see how the concerns of the teacher bodies can be addressed.
I have here one of the leadership of the bodies ready to have an interaction with us. Madam, tell us your name and who you are to the various bodies.
My name is Sarah Oyo Oredu. I'm the Greater Accra Regional NAT Chairman, or Chairperson, as some of them will say. You as a worker of joy, you cannot work without a condition of service. Even if it expires, it needs to be renewed. Okay. So we want our condition of service and then our collective bargain agreement.
After hours of negotiation with the National Labour Commission, the Ministry of Education and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the parties arrived at some agreement. King Ali Awudu is president for CCT.
3 of them has been dealt with right here now. 6 of them has been referred for negotiation beginning tomorrow. Those that were dealt here right here and now. 1, the laptop. We have agreed that at the end of the month of June this year, every teacher should receive the laptop. Now, there has been so many deadlines that has been given, but none of those deadlines resulted in a strike or came to the Labour Commission. This is a rule of the Labour Commission. If they don't do it, we are going to take a much bigger action than this. The next one is about our scheme of service. GES do not have a scheme of service. So how a headmaster is appointed, how a director general is appointed, how a form master is appointed, it's not documented in any book. It has been agreed here that by the 8th of April, the Ghana Education Service should present the draft scheme of service to the teacher unions for review.
He said the unions will continue to negotiate for the 6 other demands from tomorrow.
Rent allowance. 2, transport or commuting allowance. 3, utility subsidy allowance. Yes. From here, we are going to go through that procedure immediately, going through our councils and getting it done for us to be able to meet the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, the Ministry of Education, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and all the parties.
The Education Minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, said the ministry is ready to meet with the teacher unions tomorrow.
They have indicated that the Ministry of Education, Labour should convene a meeting immediately to begin negotiations. We are therefore meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow at the conference hall of Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. The Commission has also directed that the labour unions should call off the strike. On this note, immediately. So on this note, I want to thank the National Labour Commission for the judgment that they've rendered. We look forward to meeting with the labour unions at 2 p.m.
From the National Labour Commission here in Accra, my name is James Savage, reporting for Joy News.
Welcome back on the AM show. We usher you right into our big stories. And first on the chopping board, yes, you just saw them. They were singing Bibi Besi. But what is going to happen? The NLC, the National Labour Commission, has engaged NAT, NAGRAT, and the CCT-GH, these teachers' unions, on some of their concerns. It's quite a number of them. 3 of them have been addressed so far by the NLC per those discussions only yesterday, including the provision of their laptops. At least there's been some agreement on it. It's not that they've got it, but there has been some agreement on it. Reverting salaries blocked by the Office of the Special Prosecutor and providing them with terms of service for teachers. These are all in the pipeline, but the strike remains. They're still not moving to post. They are continuing with the strike. What is the way forward? Engaging us this morning, we have a number of guests. We start off with Dr. Peter Anti. He's Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
It's good to have you join the conversation. What do you make of these developments and how far we've come as far as this labor strike is concerned?
Thank you very much. First of all, last year, one of the significant successes of the Ministry of Education was the ability to control strike actions within the education front. So if you look at the various news reports from January to December, you will see that there were less strike actions recorded that year. And I remember when we were doing the year under review, I even commended the minister for undertaking such a feat and hope that this year we would not have any disturbance in the education front. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. This strike comes after the strike action by TEWU, Senior Staff Association of Ghana, the administrators in the tertiary institutions. Then we had the threats from UTAG, and then now the pre-tertiary education teachers are also on strike. I feel that there's something that we don't do right, because if you look at the list of things that the teachers have complained about and they are going on strike on, you would see at least two of them are things that should not have led to this particular level. I remember the number of times that Thomas Musa, NAT's General Secretary, have complained about the withholding of their colleagues' salaries by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I remember the number of times that Angel Kabunu have complained about the teachers not receiving the laptops. So do we have to wait for these teachers to go on strike before we address these two issues, which can be addressed within just a simple meeting? So sometimes I feel that these things are just we bring them on ourselves. It's something that our leaders don't want to take responsibility for, and at the end of the day, it's the students, the individual poor child in the school that suffers the irresponsibility of the leaders that are supposed to ensure that the education front is free of these strike actions.
Right. And at least we've got to this point. It wouldn't be the first time that on some of these points we've got here. But how do you address at least the fact that I heard the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, as well as the National Labour Commission, the talk about the fact that this was an illegality, the position adopted by the teachers. From where you sit, was it illegal or was it a mechanism to ensure that something got done? Because now they've got the attention of the bodies and meetings are being held. How do you feel about that?
Exactly. Well, by the books, this could be classified as an illegality. But what were they expecting them to do? Number of teachers have not had their pay released to them because of a mishap within the system, and the teachers have complained. The only way that they have been able to address this is by embarking on this so-called illegality. So for me, sometimes I feel that it is not so much about the rules, it is about how we respond to them. And I think that if they didn't go on this tangent, these two issues, which I think they are not bigger issues enough to call for a strike, would not have been resolved. Why should it take a strike action for the teachers to receive their laptops? Why? Why should it be so that they have complained over and over that the body that is responsible to ensure that the teachers receive their laptops have slept on their job till a strike action was declared, and now they have been given a deadline? That is how I see it, and that is why most workers' union would want to embark on strike, because it's only when they go on strike or undertake these actions that the authority listens to them and take action. So we continue to experience this illegality till our leaders become a little bit proactive and responsive to the challenges and the needs of the unions when they bring them up.
Right. Dr. Anti, thank you for joining, or at least sharing those thoughts. We also have Peter Nortsu-Kotoe. He's the deputy ranking member on the Education Committee. Peter, thank you for joining the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. And how are you doing?
I am well under the circumstances. I hope you're well too.
Yes, very well by the grace of God.
We have seen some push as far as the Labour Front is concerned, those three teachers' unions or teachers' groupings. And now there are some responses. We have the National Labour Commission, and three of their core issues seemingly have been addressed. When I say addressed, it doesn't mean it's gone full circle, because the laptops, for example, we cannot say as of today that all of them have been distributed. But there are some agreements. You can talk about the salaries frozen by the OSP. We can also talk about the conditions of service, among other things. But what do you make about how far we've got, and whether enough has been done from the employer's end to have maybe not even let us get here?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners and viewers. Just to make a short correction, I'm the ranking member. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Yes, the teachers went on a strike last week. And I can tell you that it is having effect on the school calendar. The Committee of Education was in Santiago North this week, Monday, Tuesday, to do some community engagement. And throughout the constituency or the district, we saw that all schools were shut. And no teacher was present. Pupils were also not there. A few were there just playing. And we realized that it's having a big toll on even parents as well, because they have to take care of the security of their children. Now, yes, have learned the progress made so far. And I think if they continue the way they started yesterday, they should be in a very short time resolve all these matters. But you see, what is happening is that do we have to wait until teachers or workers go on strike before we do what is expected of us? Look at the teacher laptop issue. The contract agreement was for 1 calendar year. So from January 2021 to December 2022, they had to distribute the laptop to all teachers. Some have even gone on retirement without getting it. Some have even, to say, died and they will not receive it or resigned. It is not the best. So it has taken Parliament now to take resources meant for basic education under the GET Fund to pay 98 million or to approve 98 million Ghana cedis to enable the Ministry of Education pay for the laptop. And if you convert that into classroom, that could have given us 100 kg blocks, fully furnished.
How much did you mention again?
98 million Ghana cedis.
98 million Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Right.
That's what Parliament approved, that it should be used from the basic education allocation from the GET Fund.
And you say you could have given us how many classrooms?
That has given us 100 kg blocks, fully furnished.
Right.
You see, so if government will not take such responsibilities seriously and wait for workers or teachers to go on strike before trying to look for resources to pay, in fact, it is not helping the system, because the education system as we have it now is not the best. Things are not going on well at all, both at the basic and the secondary level. Education has taken a nosedive, and this is the time for us to re-engage ourselves and then see what best we can do to solve the challenges. Okay, for the laptop, I know once Parliament has approved that money, it is also left with the Ministry of Finance to release money to GET Fund to enable it also onward, release it to the Ministry of Education for payment. So that is the journey. Now, yes, the progress has been made, but you see, workers are now mistrusting government, because when we see that and we agree that let's do A, B, C, D, government will not do it, or the Ministry of Education will not do it. And that is creating a problem. You remember last year we had to intervene during the UTAG and the Minister of Education impasse. The Committee on Education had to come in, talk to the UTAG, and they rescind their decision, only for government to again fail on their promise to UTAG. So we hope that if they go back to the negotiation table today, they will continue and arrive at a very useful conclusions. See, the teachers, when we went out, we did the engagement this week. Their major problem is accommodation, teaching, learning materials, the textbooks. They are not coming. So these are issues that I think we should address quickly so that the teachers can go back. So I hope that once the week is half gone already, maybe let's see, Easter will also come. By the end of this week, I hope they should be able to agree on something positive. Then they can call the strike off and go back to school.
I mean, and if they are not able to do that, what would it mean?
No, I hope that if government is genuinely committed to the welfare of teachers, they should be able to do it. They should just draw
Mr. Nortsu-Kotoe, anything can happen. They had that interaction yesterday. They said, we hear you, but we are continuing with the strike. They say 3 of them have been dealt with, but they are continuing with the strike. It could happen that even post the holidays, entering April, we're still in this situation. I'm asking you, if it continued up to that point, what would it mean for our educational setup?
Oh, it will mean that the situation will continue to be worse, because the school calendar already is a distorted one. So my appeal to the Minister of Education and that of Labour and the Salaries and Wages Commission, as well as the Labour Commission, to expedite action. That is the only way we can resolve the problem. And then draw an agreed formula or timetable by which everybody should be committed. So, for example, ministry should engage the teachers, okay, go back to school. We are going to do A at this time, B at that time, C, and then D. Then we can resolve the matter. So that if they are unable to do so, probably they can take another action again. So let's wait, let's give them this week, and then by the end of the week, they should be able to tell us something. If they don't, then probably the committee may have to come in and then probably intervene. That's all you can do for now.
Hold for me. There's more I have to swing by you. But let me bring in Dr. Anti as well. I just got this message from a teacher who says, Dr. Anti, why didn't the leaders of the teacher unions add the non-payment of arrears from 2012 to 2014 to their demands? Some of us have still not received our money. We want to know what our leaders are doing about that too. And for this, you cannot say because the administration came in 2016, so they have no hand in it. 2012 to 2014. Do you feel that is an issue that could come back to haunt, the system? Because then, if people pushed enough, we could have another strike at some point in the future on the back of this. You would have to unmute, Peter.
Yeah, I think that the teachers affected should quickly draw the attention of their leadership to this, or maybe they are already aware. Of course, when you're embarking on a strike action, you need certain issues to put at the forefront, and then there are other issues that you bring to the table when you are called upon for negotiation. So I think that is maybe the strategy that the teacher unions, the leadership is using. But if they don't have this, the teachers affected should quickly prompt their leadership to add this to the negotiations that they are going to. And if truly these allowances haven't haven't been paid for that long, I think there will be a way around this.
And but look at these two sides of the coin. Would it not be too late to bring it in at this point in time? And what does it do for goodwill? Because they enumerated their issues in that statement. They enumerated them. So if some are being dealt with and then you keep adding others, it creates a problem, doesn't it?
Yes, that's why I said that normally when we are doing some of these things, you go to the negotiation table with certain issues that cut across the welfare of all your members. And then when you feel that there are others that you can bring in, I think during the discussion, these things can be dealt with. I don't know the number of teachers that were affected. I don't know the extent to which the effect is on the teachers. And I think that the leadership would definitely know about this and they would find a way around it. If truly such a situation exists, I cannot independently say that I'm aware of these allowances that have not been paid.
Looking at the sums of money that they came to Parliament for, right, which Peter Nortsu-Kotoe cites, the 98 million Ghana cedis, and what it could have been used for versus where we are. How do we streamline this in monetary terms to ensure that the teachers get what they deserve?
Well, I think that there's always a plan mapped up for the amount of money that is sent to the education ministry. So definitely they will know how the distribution is going to be like. I don't think that anything that the budgetary allocation for the Ministry of Education is done haphazardly. There is a plan that they are supposed to follow. And definitely they would follow that. When the issues are maybe above them, I think the minister and the relevant authorities will be able to get additional funds to support the teachers, especially now that they are talking about certain allowances that they want as part of their conditions of service. I think these negotiations, that is why I think along the line, they were told that the issues of some of these allowances goes beyond the bodies that were involved in the negotiation. So they had to bring in the Ministry of Finance. And when the ministry comes in and feel that there will be fiscal space to accommodate some of these things, I think they will be able to take care of that.
Right. And in terms of, we've spoken about accommodation, teaching and learning materials and all of that. The stance of the teachers to continue with the strike, even as some of these are being resolved, is it one you support?
This is difficult. I'm running some research work in part of the Ashanti region, and I go to schools and I see 2 teachers, and even the students are not there, which is affecting my work. So I wish that the teachers call off the strike and then get back to the classroom, but they cannot do so in a situation where their socio-emotional needs and they are psychologically they are not prepared to teach, and that's why teachers' welfare are important variables that you need to take care of when you want the teacher to deliver or give off his or her best. Because sometimes they can go to school, sit down, and then will not engage in any activity at all. The children will play, and then when it's time for closing, they pack back their bags and leave the classroom. So we would want the teachers to be in a certain state of mind before they get to the classroom and then deliver the best education that we want for our kids. And to be able to put them in that state of mind, I think that these issues needs to be addressed. You see, the words of leaders are supposed to carry some level of value. So that when a leader says that I will give you this, the child goes to sleep because he knows that the leader said he will do that. In most instances, our leaders have not lived by their words. And that is why even when they have assured workers that they are going to do A, workers are still skeptical because they don't believe or trust the words of leaders. I think these are things that our leaders need to work on. That at a point in time of our national development, their words will mean words that are going to be fulfilled. And when that happens, this calls to go back to the classroom will not even be needed because whilst the leader speaks, they know that action is going to follow and the teachers will call off the strike.
Right. And I'm curious, even as we try to take apart the issues one by one, starting with, and then when I get your take, I will go to Peter Nortsu-Kotoe as well. Starting with the issue of laptops and tablets. Yesterday, I engaged Dr. Richmond Echiahene, a banking consultant, among others. And he was furious, asking how, for example, a country unable to feed itself will prioritize digitalization in the form of giving out tablets, right? Then you look at the fact that this bit about giving out tablets or laptops to students, all students in Ghana, was a promise that was made even before this administration got into power. And it's now almost the 8th year. In fact, it is the 8th year. We are almost concluding the 8th year. And now this promise is seemingly being fulfilled. You look at the numbers as presented to Parliament and the number of students involved versus the actual numbers. Those who have received, for example, if you want to talk about teachers who have received their laptops, that's another issue. Over 100,000 of them from some groupings not having their laptops. Though some say, apart from the 30% component that they paid, their SNIT was also used to foot the rest of the bill. But when it comes, if you're looking purely at the students, the numbers, a fraction of them are going to get these tablets. What then does this mean, at least from that standpoint, juxtaposing that with a teacher's standpoint? Is the reality going to be any different?
I think what you have enumerated is called looking at the track record of the delivery of the promise and how it is being fulfilled. And based on that, you can make a logical conclusion that it's going to be difficult for all the 1.3 million students to get their laptops. For me, my position is that in this time and age,
but is that a position you agree with, that it is going to be difficult and that this may just be cosmetic, that indeed, if you look at funding, if you look at what's presented to Parliament, we will not give 1.3 million students those laptops or tablets?
So looking at how we dealt with the Banredu laptop, looking at how we dealt with the One Ghana, Better Ghana laptop, I can say that it's going to be a little bit difficult for this promise to be fulfilled. So what needs to happen is that the implementers of this particular policy this time around should learn from the difficulties that engulf the two earlier on policies. And then if they're able to learn from it and improve and implement this policy in a way that will benefit the students, I think then we'll be able to achieve this. But as I was saying, for me, exposing the student to technology in this time and age is nothing that should be a big deal to anybody. We will continue to have challenges in the system, and therefore you cannot always get everything right before you take a step. So that should not be an argument for us to make. What we have to look at is to what extent are we going to be able to get the students use the laptop to achieve improved learning outcomes. I'm saying this because I've done a lot of research in terms of students' behavioral intention to use laptops. I've made presentation to the ministry, and then last year, November, National Education Week, we did a presentation on this paper also. And one of the things that came out forcefully, speaking to the students, was that they know that the laptops or the tablets or their phones are used mostly for entertainment purposes. So they play games, they use it to watch videos, take pictures, and do all those social media stuff. So it is up to us during the implementation process to now turn the students' mind from that focus of using tablets to the focus of purely academic activity. And it's going to take a lot of skill from the teacher to be able to achieve that. And that is why we need to get a very nice framework, a very concise framework that would enable us roll this out in the classroom. So it's not so much about giving the students laptop. Yesterday, I was saying that giving students laptop do not necessarily lead to quality education, as was propounded during the lunch. No, you can give students laptop or tablet or whatever it is, but the end results will not be improved in quality education. The laptops needs to be used for what they are intended to. The teachers need to direct the students to be able to use the laptops to be able to now achieve the purpose of which they were given. Now, if you are not able to get this right, this synergy, this kind of collaboration, if you are not able to get it right, we will just be doling out laptops to students like we did in 2008, like we did in 2011, 2012, and we will not get any better result from it. Interestingly, if you have taken note, all these policies seems to be launched in election year. So 2008, Banredu, 2012, 2011, 2012, One Ghana, Better Ghana laptop, and then 2024, we have this one too being launched. I don't know the relation between election years and the distribution of these digital.
I'm going to be blunt here. Does it make any sense? And you know, sometimes people like to play with. Does it make any sense for any administration to wait till it's the year of election to do this? Does it make any sense to you?
For me, I think it's more about improving election outcomes than learning outcomes.
In other words, propaganda, an attempt to buy votes rather than actually expertly executing a project, right?
Exactly. And let me show you the reason why I'm saying this. In 2019, I think around July, the Ministry of Education signed a memorandum of understanding with a Chinese company that was supposed to now lead the charge in terms of the creation of smart classrooms and smart schools. That is 2019. The now Minister of Education was the Deputy Minister. He was there. I think the boss of the Ghana Library Authority was also there. That was when this memorandum of understanding was signed under the former Minister of Education, Honorable Prempe. So if we really wanted to do this, we should not have waited till 2024 before we would roll this out. So when we look at it from that point of view, then you would definitely say that there's more to the distribution than what we are seeing. Again, we have reviewed our ICT policy. And for me, I think the focus of the Ministry of Education would have been to now educate the general public on the new ICT policy that is being reviewed. Because when you talk about this, the first thing that teachers or people will say is that students are not supposed to use laptops or digital devices in the schools. But these things have been reviewed. So why should we be focused on propagating the distribution of the laptop rather than taking the stakeholders through the new ICT policy for education and how we can integrate ICT in our teaching and learning to ensure that we achieve proper learning outcomes. And that is why I look at all this and I think that this is more about improving election outcomes than learning outcomes.
Let me come to you, Mr. Nortsu-Kotoe. So on the same front, when it comes to tablets for students, I mean, like has been mentioned, even with the smart school setup, 2019 till now, it's almost 5 years, and we're executing it in an electoral year for whatever reason. But when it comes to the laptops or the tablets, what are the real possibilities that all 1.3 million plus will get them? From where you sit, do we have the money to execute this? Do we even have the systems in place to be able to execute this vis-a-vis what we've seen with the teachers' laptops?
Yeah, thank you very much. This issue of tablets came up last year, and they were going to force all the 1.3 million tablets that they wanted to buy on Get Fund. So if you remember very well, the approval of the formula for Get Fund for last year delayed so much until June. This was because the minority will raise an issue that Get Fund, where we know is for educational purposes, but the rate at which items were being forced on Get Fund, do this, do that, was too much. And then, worst of all, you had a capped Get Fund, and you were not giving Get Fund all the necessary revenue that you took on their behalf. You are giving them just about 40%. And even the 40%, you are unable to give all to them. So why make Get Fund suffer the consequences of your actions? So we had to meet the then Minister for Finance to discuss the matter. No, we cannot allow you to impose this on Get Fund. So we will only give you a limit, and that limit is what Get Fund should sponsor. So it was going to be about 1.5 billion. So we agreed that it should be spread over 2 years. So they paid 750 million or so last year, and this year they are also going to pay 747 million out of the approved sums of money for secondary education. You know, the Get Fund formula is such that we have the tertiary allocation, secondary allocation, then basic education allocation, then other expenditures or like a scholarship and all those things. So we agreed that that should be the case. So Get Fund came out and said that, well, with the money approved for them, they were going to pay for 450,000 pieces. And that is what is available now. The 1.3 was the total. Get Fund was to sponsor 450,000 pieces, but the remaining 8,500 or so was to be sponsored by central government. So what was launched on Monday was only the 450,000. We had issues with this with the minister when we met him on the 14th of this month as a committee, that we wanted to know if government had been able to procure the remaining number. The minister said no. So why are you in a hurry to distribute them, as you said in a statement recently? They said they were going to pilot it. Why are you piloting it? Is it going to be for final year students only, or second year or first year? Then he said it was going to be for some selected schools. And the committee wanted to know the schools, because we realized that it was going to be politically skewed. And he told us that as a committee, he will engage us. Okay, we wanted to know if the tablets were empty, that is without any information. He said they had engaged a technical team that was going to program it. So you have not programmed it, you have not finished, because you needed to get the permission of some publishers to put their books on the tablet. You have not done those things, and now you are going to distribute them. And he couldn't answer. So some of us are even of the view that that's why he didn't even invite the committee to the launching. Not even the chairman of the committee.
You think the minister had something to hide?
Exactly. Probably he felt that if we came there, the press may interview some of us and we will tell the truth. So we were not invited. Well, that's notwithstanding, I am of the view that in this year's budget, probably they may come with the mid-year review budget and make provision for it, because there was no provision for the laptop, the tablet in the 2024 budget. But they could, if they wanted, they would do it in the mid-year review. So we asked the minister, when we came to the plenary, the minister was asked to explain to us, wanted to know the procurement process that was used. Now, the company that was engaged, and what are the modalities? What are the contents of the tablets? Are the students going to take it away, or they will leave it behind? How are you going to ensure the security so that they don't just go and use it for playing games and other things? So these were questions put to the minister, for which we are expecting his answers. And some of us are the view that this one is just propaganda. They just want to use it for political gains. But the actual thing is that it is costing other educational sectors in the country.
I see. And need I remind you, though, that you've played the same game before, your party. I mean, Peter Anti was referencing how in electoral years, 2008, is it 2012 as well, 2012. I mean, I don't get it. Why do you do these things in an electoral year, if not for propagandist reasons, if not to curry favor? But in the end, you end up not being able to execute, and then it rolls over, and that is where it becomes extremely problematic, especially noting where one administration doesn't want to continue what the other administration started. Why do you politicians do this? Why?
No, that is one reason why Ghanaians at times must hold politicians responsible. If the program was started during President Kufuor's time, 2008, I remember when I was DCE, President Mills' time, we were distributing these tablets, the RLG type. For the 4 years that I was a DCE, we were receiving and distributing. That one I know. And during President Mahama time too, we were doing same. That one I vividly remember. Yeah, but what is the problem is that it is a continuation. That is the challenge. President Mills continued with President Kufuor's program. That one I remember, I know very well, I'm sure. But this government stopped that program when they came to power in 2017. So for NDC, we continue with the process. If the MPP did not, that is their question to answer. We continued with it, as far as I know. But the point is that we begin the program, we don't end it. Then we jump into another. That is what is happening now. We have not even finished with the teacher laptop. Then we say students. Now, even in developed countries where the technological advancement is high, they still have textbooks. But over here, we started the distribution of textbooks. We have stopped along the line. We have not even paid the publishers their money. Then now we are jumping into tablets, and we'll be owing the suppliers of the tablets also. Then very soon, they will also go and picket at the Ministry of Education, just as the food suppliers have threatened to do very soon again. So I think it is the issue of not able to think through the program very well, so that we can draw a continuation or continuity program that whichever government comes will buy into that idea. But when we want to use it for propaganda, that is where we are having a problem as we see now.
Let me bring in.
I am very skeptical that they will be able to provide the remaining 900,000, because that is for the senior high school. They promised the junior high school too. So it was a total of 2,730,000 tablets that they said they were going to provide or supply. So we are waiting. Yeah.
All right. And if you look at the 400,000 plus that they've provided, of course, it would leave at the senior high level, like you said, excess of 700,000 more. And then if you look at the entire figure of 2.73 million, then that's going to be quite a convoluted situation. But let me also, just a quick thought, Dr. Peter Anti. I'm even wondering, you know how we are putting all these books and resources on the tablets, right? And some have spoken as though the tablets were, impossible to destroy, indestructible. I don't know whether they are made of kryptonite or steel. But the point is, no matter how, sturdy, or the word doesn't come, a gadget is, okay? It has its limitations. I am just wondering, should something happen to these tablets that the students will be using, since they are going to use them more rather than textbooks and all of that, how are they going to be serviced? How are they going to be maintained? Who will pay for it? Do you have any idea, Dr. Peter Anti? Before maybe I throw that to Peter Nortsu-Kotoe as well.
All right. Yes, I think I listened to one of the people who are behind this policy, and he was saying that there are ICT specialists in all districts at the Free SHS Secretariat, or the Free SHS Secretariat will liaise the students to these ICT specialists anytime there's a problem with the tablet, so that they will be those who are servicing it. But so that is I think that is a structure that they want to put in place. I don't know how feasible that is going to be, because that
sounds pretty convoluted to me, because that sounds like if my tablet were to have a problem today, it may maybe take me a month or two before I get that tablet back fixed.
Yes, I say this because some of the teachers are complaining about the inability of the KA technology people to work on their machines when they reported to them about that their machines are broken down. And these are the same group of people that are going to handle this at the senior high school level. So it's not all that clear how that is going to happen. But let me say that putting the soft copies of textbooks on the tablets is cost efficient. That is a fact. If we are going to spend, looking at how we deal with procurement in this country, and then the amount of money we claim we spent on the past questions for the final years, you would agree with me that if you have these things on a tablet, that will be cost efficient. So that is a point that we need to make. How the students are going to handle it, how they are going to use it for effective learning is what we have to look at and ensure that they are able to use it for the purpose of which they are being given these tablets. And I'm told that they will use it till they are leaving school and then they hand it over. The feasibility of that also looks a little bit sketchy to me because some of the students might not want to return them. I'm told that if you don't, there are mechanisms to track you. Well, we will have to look at that and see how that pans out. But let me make an interesting point. In November 2012, President Akufo-Addo, the then opposition leader in Cape Coast, at the University of Cape Coast, made an interesting point that the one laptop per student that was being distributed was now one laptop per NDC member. Interestingly, today, the member of parliament for NDC is also saying that the one laptop per student that is going to be distributed.
Are you referring to the one who is having the conversation with you, Peter?
Yes, I'm talking about Honorable Peter, my namesake. He's also saying that the one laptop per student will be distributed to MPP members. These are how our politicians always play with us.
Do you have any reactions to that? The maintenance of the laptops, Peter Nortsu-Kotoe, the maintenance of the laptops and the assertion being made by your namesake?
Yes.
Very quickly, because I want us to get into other issues.
I did not say that they were going to distribute the tablets to MPP supporters. I said that at the committee meeting, we advised the minister to be fair in the selection of beneficiary schools so that it will not be skewed towards MPP-prone area schools only. That was what we said. We didn't say it was one laptop, one MPP. The issue, we raised that issue of maintenance because our young boys and girls, we know how they are. They are very, very adventurous. They would like to do a number of things with their tablets. So what guarantee the minister was going to give us? That they will not use it for any other thing apart from academic activities. He told us the technical team was working on it and that it will be remotely controlled so that they will not be able to do any other thing. Then we say, okay, we will be watching closely because even our own phone, somebody somewhere can tap it and get information. And these children, the way they are very intelligent, they can find an antidote to all those things. So we are waiting to see. And so we talk about the maintenance. They said they were going to set up a 24-hour maintenance unit. So you only call to a secretariat and then they will work on it immediately. This one, I don't believe it. When our phones get spoiled, we have to go to a center where it can be repaired for us. So we are having our doubts to see whether things will actually work. So for the maintenance is very, very important because the way our children behave these days, I doubt if these laptops are going to have a very long lifespan.
Right.
So
let's quickly wade into two other issues, and then we can. The issue of the salaries blocked by the OSP and the proposals made, as well as the provision of terms of service for teachers. I feel the terms of service are basic things that should have been done. I don't even know how you can work without terms of service, but there it is. Those two issues, the proposals that have been made and the response from the teacher unions. What do you see on those specific points? How do we bring some clarity, finality to those two issues? Peter Nortsu-Kotoe, before I come to Dr. Anti.
Yes, on the issue of the OSP and the blockade of salary, for me, I still not finding an answer to the situation because what we have now from the controller and the Accountant General Department is that every month there is someone who must verify, do verification, and then give information to controller that yes, pay A, B, C, D. There's a term they use for it. I'm sure it is a verification. So based on that, government well, controller will now input your salary for the month. So if your name is not verified, your salary will not come. So the first point of solving this problem is to hold those who are doing the verification responsible. It is because you are given a number on a staff, maybe Accra Newtown 1 primary school. There is somebody there who must verify. At the district education office, there's somebody who must verify. So if at the date of verification, it is done, so that's why I'm beginning to worry, or I still worry, why this situation? Why should the OSP just jump into this situation? Are they not overstepping their bounds? Because you have the audit service, we have internal audit. So why should the OSP come into this? Meanwhile, teachers who have spent time to work, who were genuinely employed, have been receiving their salaries. In fact, go to the field and do a head count if you want so. Then you'll be able to get the good teachers. So for me, I am not happy with OSP for that action. So when I saw it as one of the issues raised by the teacher unions, I agree with them. But yesterday they promised that within 1 month they were going to resolve the matter. So let's hope that it is resolved, so that those teachers who for some months now have not been paid will receive their salaries.
Right, and on the terms of service, and then I'll go to Peter on the same 2 points. Quickly on the terms of service. Yeah, the terms of service, you see, there is an agreement. It's a 3-year collective agreement. And once it is expiring, the union leaders and the employer must meet and review the agreement. Then it will come into effect when the existing one elapses. But it's what the GES has failed to do. And I don't know why we still wait for workers or employees to hold us to ransom before we begin to do things that as employer we are expected to do. So I am of the view that once they have promised, they have given them a deadline, but they will still be meeting today going forward. Let's hope that the two sides will come to a very good agreement so that our children can go back to school as quickly as possible. So let them make progress, and I hope the government and the teacher unions will listen to each other. Hold for me, because when I come to you, it will be for that final point I want you to make, or reflection on the GET Fund. But Dr. Anti, those 2 points as well, very quickly, the terms of service and then the OSP freezing those salaries. Your quick thoughts on those? And the progress made so far, essentially.
Again?
And the progress made so far, essentially. That's what
sure. As I said, the OSP issue is a little bit interesting to me. I still do not understand what is really happening, because as Honorable Member explained, the teachers go through a verification process before they are paid. So if someone is not verified, the person will not be paid. Is it that we are saying that headmasters have verified people who are not on the field and they are being paid? If that is the case, have we gone around it to check whether these names are really people who are not on the field and they are being paid? This should at least shouldn't take more than 2 months to deal with. But the association have been complaining about this for months now. And sometimes I feel that my senior brother and the education committee in parliament should also sometimes move into some of these things before the strike actions and other things come up. Because I've heard numerous press conferences by Thomas Musa and then NJ and other leaders about this OSP thing, and nobody tried to even help them resolve it. So they decided to go on strike, and all of a sudden they have been given a month. And that tells us that the teachers' issues are not important to our leaders, and that is why they will continue to treat them like that. That is why they will wait for their collective agreement to expire before they think about starting negotiation. You don't do that. You start negotiation when you think that it is getting closer to time. So people have neglected their duties, and at the end of the day, it is the individual innocent student in the school that is suffering. I think going forward, we should, as much as possible, try and avoid some of these things. And the powerful committee on education in Parliament could be one of the strongest voices that can be used to support the teachers when they start bringing up these issues before they finally decide to go on strike.
Right. And the final point, since I'm already on you, that will be your parting shots. This bit about Parliament approving $3.94 billion to finance educational infrastructure projects across the country. I'm talking about Get Fund projects to see to the completion of 3,606 Ghana Education Trust Fund projects. But this whole bit, we have the levy, the Get Fund levy and everything, but sometimes it is appropriated to other things. What do you make of it and these sums that now have been approved? What would be your charge to the educational setup, the ministry, the service, as far as this is concerned?
I think that we have issues with infrastructure, and such an amount should be able to take us out of the infrastructure challenges that we have. We have serious problems with basic education infrastructure. We have serious problems with infrastructure at the senior high school level and even at the tertiary level. I believe that if this money is appropriated well, we'll be able to address some of the challenges. And this is where we have to bring in the idea of equity and see the areas that needs the infrastructure most, and then we attend to them. If you look at the Ministry of Education data, they have what they call deprived districts. So I'm thinking that the money is being released to them. They have to look at the deprived district. They have to look at the infrastructure needs of these districts and at least try and bring them up to a certain standard so that the students will go and sit in and they feel comfortable learning. With the way we handle Get Fund, I think that it's about time that we continue to push for the removal of the cap of the Get Fund, and fortunately this time around Parliament has been able to work around it, and we have this amount of money going to Get Fund. We just have to follow the money and ensure that it's going to be used for what it's supposed to be used for.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Anti, for having joined this conversation. Peter Nortsu-Kotoe, you have the final word on that same point.
Yeah, thank you very much. Get Fund, since 2000, when it was established, has done so much for upliftment of education in this country. That's why when in 2017, the Minister for Finance then brought the Capping Act or bill, we opposed it, but with the numbers, they carried it through. For this year, 2024, Get Fund was expected to receive 7.93 billion, but only 3.2 billion had been allocated to it because of the capping and realignment. And that 3.2 billion, we are going to use 747 million to pay for tablets, we're going to use 98 million to pay for teachers' laptops. What is left, it will be about some 2.something billion with the erratic releases. So we have a bill in my name, as well as that of the chairman of the committee, that Get Fund should be decapped. We are pursuing it. And when Parliament resumes, I think we will take it again. So
is that to suggest that a future NDC government, if you were to come to power, would remove the capping of the Get Fund? Is that to say
yes,
that?
We will remove it because it is not helping. Not helping. If you go around the country and you see the dilapidated classrooms that are bound, poor furniture conditions, school toilets. In fact, the situation is not the best for our pupils, and we need to do something about it. So give Get Fund all that is required and let them do A, B, C, D for the country. So we will pursue it and see how best we can make sure that Get Fund gets a lot of money. We are only praying that the 3.9 billion, this is because there is 3.9 because some money for 2023 had not been released. So we are expecting that to be released so that they can get the 3.9. In actual fact, it was 3.2 billion that was approved.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Peter Nortsu-Kotoe, for joining the conversation. Those who joined us on this conversation, Peter Nortsu-Kotoe, he's ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Peter Anti, Executive Director, Institute for Education and Studies. And that's the end of this belt on education and the wrangling between, well, guess what? the National Labour Commission, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and the 3 education unions. But coming up now, we'll bring you AM Business, courtesy of EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and we'll bring you details of that shortly. Do stay.
The finance minister on the energy sector today said the ministry is engaging the IPPs and they are really making headway with respect to the negotiations on some of these debts being cleared very soon.
The energy sector continues to be a border for us because the arrears, as we know it today, is still huge on our books. However, we've seen significant progress in addressing not just the arrears, but also in preventing the accumulation of arrears going forward. The updated energy sector recovery program is intended to achieve just that. And most of you may know that we have a remodeled or revised cash waterfall mechanism that guarantees payment to IPPs and also to our state-owned enterprises. And the Ministry of Finance is also supporting where there are shortfalls. Therefore, we are very confident that the effective implementation of the cash waterfall mechanism will help in preventing accumulation of new arrears. But coming to the existing arrears, we are almost through with our negotiations with the IPPs to restructure the arrears over several years. And as I speak to you, I believe in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be signing those agreements with the IPPs we have concluded negotiations with. We have even started showing good faith to the IPPs by making some payments that we had agreed to do with them. And this is why you do not hear the threats that you used to hear and read about from IPPs threatening to shut down. And so we are very confident that the signing of these agreements will pave way for spreading the arrears over several years, an average of 5 years, to provide some relief to us to put our house in order, to ensure that we do not go back to the days of huge arrears in the energy sector.
On the small and medium enterprises sector, the finance minister indicated that the government is putting up measures to address challenges affecting the financing within the SME space.
Going forward, fast-tracking the implementation of the growth strategy with a key focus on SME development and financing is expected to support accelerated economic expansion in 2024 and the medium term. My friends from the media, SMEs in Ghana account for 92% of existing companies, 85% of manufacturing jobs, and 70% of GDP. Therefore, they have a growth potential with possible significant impacts at both macroeconomic and sector levels through technology, creative industries, agro-value chains, construction, tourism, commerce of local goods, transport, healthcare, and pharmaceuticals, among others. Preliminary consultations with stakeholders unearthed 3 main challenges for SMEs, namely access to finance, access to markets and exports, and tax constraints and formalization. Government is determined to address particularly the financing challenges which have become very critical in SME development. This will ensure that we generate growth internally from SMEs, underpinned by a robust SME financing ecosystem that can be leveraged as a vehicle for sustainable growth. As I speak to you, we are talking to various agencies of state, the private sector, such as the financial institutions, and we are reviewing our existing SME programs, all aimed at consolidating our efforts at providing opportunities for Ghanaian SMEs. A comprehensive SME financing strategy is being developed, and once approved, you will see a rollout of various products to support SMEs. On price development, ladies and gentlemen, price pressures have eased significantly in response to ongoing fiscal consolidation, appropriate tightening of monetary policy, and relative stability in the exchange rate and the relatively good food production. Headline inflation year on year declined by 30.9 percentage points to 23.2% in December 2023 from 54.1% in December 2022, before picking up slightly to 23.5% in January 2024. Inflation, however, resumed its downward trend, thereby easing to 23.2% in February 2024. And we expect that this trend will continue, all things being equal. Food inflation continues to dominate our inflation data. Food inflation dropped to 27% in February 2024. Non-food inflation also declined to 20% in February 2024.
On the IMF program, the finance minister says government is making sure it meets its targets.
With the third review expected to come off in November 2024. And each time we are successful with the review, we will see disbursement of funds from the IMF. And this is all included in the $1.2 billion disbursement we are expecting this year, which will not only come to build our reserves, but will also strengthen our currency and also provide support for budget implementation. The Ministry of Finance is working with the Bank of Ghana in preparation for the review. Preliminary assessment undertaken by the Ministry and the Bank of Ghana shows that we are on course to meeting most of the targets under the program. I do not want to preempt this, but we are very confident that we'll be successful at the review.
For Joy Business, James Ishen.
Through the defecating is that low land, they've been shitting there for a long time. And it was like Bola, the rubbish dump. Some people are shitting in this water, but me, I know that some are using it to wash. I will not do that.
Why were you defecating?
Defecating here, if you are defecating here, those who are living around here, they will not call it to be a crime because it's a low land. And very soon, you will see people who can bring this in. It was even deep down. Because of the rubbish dam, you see that it is filling.
Do you think it's bad, especially because this place is very close to the Independence Square, and just right behind the walls of the Independence Square, you are defecating? You don't think it's wrong?
I know that it's wrong, but here like this, it's very, very wrong. I know that here too is not right. In case they are to do here, clear here, no, it's not right. But the way it was bush, if you are here, no one will call it to be a crime. That's why we are shitting there. Okay. So that's why we are defecating there. But here, if you see a person shitting here, you will know that that person is not normal.
For citizens who come here, it is to celebrate our nation's freedom. But what about our freedom from this mess? Perhaps city authorities want to give tourists and patrons a 360 independence celebration. After watching the display and exhibition of our culture and all that we stand for at the Black Star Square, you can come here for a part 2, this time a filth exhibition. Chata Winfred Annan is a resident.
Immediately when they removed the presidency from the Osu Castle to the Jubilee House, that is fine. Immediately they could have brought the national security people to the Osu Castle so that they can keep this place clean. But now, see, if you see the rubbish and where the people go to toilet here, it's very bad. There's nothing going on here. They said nobody should come to the beach. And people are going to private all over. If you turn and look at where the rubbish are, you see everything. So for me, it's terrible. Where the cast Independence Square is and where they go to private, I mean, it's not good. And so they're supposed to do something about it. And so if you look at the Asomdwe Park and where the people are going to the private, my man, the big editors should do something about it.
Let's celebrate independence in every sense of the word, from freedom to cleanliness. Join us in our mission to turn this field exhibition into a showcase of cleanliness and pride. Maxwell Agbagba for Joy News.
Nestled between Nima and Newtown, with a particular focus on the settlements adjacent to the residence of President Akufo-Addo, human dignity collides with desperation. This is the Aladuna community, where
Osu Alata, a coastal community in the Greater Accra region. It boasts of a rich scenic beauty. With its close proximity to the Osu Castle, it has long been a magnet for tourists seeking a glimpse into Ghana's rich history. However, within the beauty lies a pressing issue that tarnishes the community's charm. The heap of rubbish, located right in the center of the community, not only mars the landscape, but poses significant challenges to the health of residents and tourism prospects. The pile of rubbish, mostly plastic, has been producing stench in the community for months. Benjamin Doatiso has lived in the community for 26 years. He tells me a container supposed to be for the collection of their rubbish has been taken away by the assembly.
This is how they take care of the rubbish. This is how they normally dump it here. When the caretaker is not around, those around, they snitch. And they will come and dump the rubbish here. They are using this castle as a tourist center. And when the visitors came and they see this rubbish around, I mean, let me say, it's not good for the castle.
The gutters.
So we decided not to work today. But our leaders have spoken to us, so we will start soon.
You go to the beach side where my house is, you come to the beach, it's the same refuse, but by the time you talk to people, every community, the villagers at the water side, they shit at the water.
Even Ali Mohammed, who was just moved into the neighborhood from Cameroon, is very upset. He wonders why leadership has neglected its responsibility to keep the city clean.
Well, they have Congress people, they have statements, they have people that work for the government that are around here. I think these people should be more responsible. You understand me? They vote them, they vote these people have to go and vote people, that these people should represent them in the parliament. These people should be more responsible. It shouldn't be young people should be calling on their... Everybody, me and you standing right here, that is a spoon, you didn't pick it. You are a Ghanaian, you are standing on Ghanaian soil, you are responsible, you are a human Ghanaian in a human soil, that is a refuse, that is refuse on your left leg. Your responsibility should have picked that, and I should have picked that, and he had picked that, then you didn't find that.
Community leader Ni Adokweino recognizes the importance of addressing the problem. He tells me there are some measures being put in place to address it.
Formerly, there was a dustbin from the municipal. The people comes outside to dump inside. It is meant for the drain, you see. The people come in late in the night and then dump it there. And that gives the government another problem. Instead of paying to this thing. Now, it seems today or tomorrow they are going to Jamestown over there and then Choko and mobilize them to do everything, inaugurate everything there. So there will be a group at every electoral area.
Nestled between Nima and Newtown, with a particular focus on the settlements adjacent to the residence of President Akufo-Addo, human dignity collides with desperation. This is the Aladuna community, where approximately 500 people call an open gutter their makeshift waste disposal site. For Amagbeto, a resident of 2 decades, it's a daily reminder of their struggles with waste management and the stinging neglect by government. He speaks of an absence of proper waste management infrastructure with a heavy heart.
Everybody put rubbish in the gutter. Even I'm fighting with people here. They come and shit here all the time. Every night they came and put over dinner for Jirafia. Alaba enye nuika edenafu enyo na nwa tamaro na dogo na kwa mata ga dunu. When you watch the forward there, you can watch it there. The Kaya Yo people, they always come there over na Masan and the other side. Nova New Kata Kocho Malatai. Their pampers, their everything, they dump it to the gutter there. They don't have any place to dump it, so they just put it inside. So for me to the Kukuna government, Ado Agrina Miap Nola Badi, the area man, no be no saver, no jababa. But what Belonu Akona Amuyokata area. Umaga Globo Yoho Galo Sio. Nobody Yoho Galo Shia, a fudega.
But it's not just the stench of refuse that hangs heavy in the air. Across recurring floods, a menacing spectre threatened to wash away what little semblance of stability they cling to. As the rains draw near, one can almost feel the collective anxiety gripping the community, a community already scarred by the memory of the devastating June 3rd flood disaster.
June 3rd kwampomila wo medem. June 3rd a nsuo toye no enya asem ketwa me mane nyina ye fridge e bibia seye ifi kwa me nana flower krampo wato odi ye bro machine edwuma no eno so seye June 3rd ye line wo ye dem sisi a aban bia meboa ye obibie mu nti nsuo to de enye izekura wa ha sei etumi yiri saa na abaye dem wo ne nyina ne abobo ye nyama ebi wa na ye de ye ma tututu fridge no so gota no ye tu nsuo gum ye tu bola sugum ide no kra de meka ese bola bie ni ase container bie ni ha bola kan be fa ase nti ye de ne yesesa ye bola ye de begun sanka bola ka ba ye de begu bola kanim ese bola ka bia ma nti ye de begu gotem ebi wa ye begu payment no so ne ya hye ye hye ne ya pregu gotenim me ni aban na eben aban otimi huni anya mimi to downstairs abanso to downstairs me ne sheben me fa ase amakwa aba ha nti aban to me ya baabi na waja ha to on me that me say onju ya ho.
Living so precariously close to the gutter with no proper waste management system in sight, Ejewe's voice trembled as she recalled the horrors endured. Dosu, another resident here at Aladuna, his tone tinged with frustration and righteous anger, joined in the conversation to demand government to give them some answers. Where are the funds allocated for the sanitation initiatives? Because they haven't seen any.
Ebia nso yi wa hasa June 4 June 3 ja nso ni nyina ye bre ha ye gota akra ye de toilet enje so mo bo hwe mo kro apo mo se toilet edemu ara national toilet o abani de SMC mbeka be bi kire no kra po ye that's the number one on ye because ye bre ebia mo fa ye bre ya kan Adum TV
President Akufo-Addo's pledge to transform Accra into Africa's cleanest city by 2020, later extended by former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa to 2024, now stands as a stark reminder of unfulfilled promises, as slogans like Year of Sanitation, Keeping Ghana Clean Agenda, and Making Accra the Cleanest City fade into obscurity. The reality of filth encroaching upon the cityscape becomes even more glaring. But it's not just about cleaning streets or clearing drains. It's about restoring dignity, reclaiming hope, and honoring the humanity of every individual who calls this Aladuna community home. It's time to hold our leaders accountable and demand tangible action to address the sanitation crisis plaguing our communities. For Joy News, I'm Sweetie Abochi.
And that, of course, is our filth exhibition, even in close proximity to the Jubilee House. That makes for very interesting viewing. But that was part of our filth exhibition. Let's come into the studio now, because there's a lot more to talk about in respect of filth and what the hazards are in respect of same. Our team in-house, led by Isaac Kofi, has been putting together some work, some data on another troubling aspect of this open defecation. But Kofi, welcome aboard the AM show.
Ben, I mean, you can't really talk about sanitation in Ghana, proper sanitation, without addressing the issue of open defecation. So just like you said, we've been doing some work on the data released by the Ghana Statistical Service, and we've been trying to, get a picture of the national outlook and see the magnitude of the problem that we have in terms of open defecation. So you can see on your screens right now. I'll just start with the UN's estimate that about 18% of Ghanaians actually practice open defecation. We are talking about more than 5 million.
Almost 1 in every 5.
Absolutely. We
are almost 1 in 5.
Yes. So we are talking about more than 5 million Ghanaians actually practicing open defecation. So when we looked at the data yesterday, trying to find answers and trying to find how widespread the issue is, we saw that there are currently 5.9 residential structures scattered across the length and breadth of the country. And if you look at the households with toilet facilities, 3.4 million households without toilet facilities, 3.4 million. And then the household without toilet facilities but practicing open defecation, we could count 1.47 million. In fact, that gives you the number of open defecation points that you can actually locate across the length and breadth of the country. If we do a more disaggregation of the figure, you see that in bushes and open fields, gutters, we are talking about 1.3 million spots. Not even a population, we are talking about points that you can find.
Almost 1.4 million.
Almost 1.4 million.
1.38, that's almost 1.4 million.
Yes, so it means that you can count more than 1.3 million, places in terms of bushes and gutters that open defecation is actually practiced. At the beaches, more than almost, let me say just above 61,000 spots. Polythene bags, 17,000. Chamber pots, close to 19,000. And the total gives you the almost 1.5 million open defecation point that we've been talking about. The next slide that shows you the disaggregation at the district level. So we try to do more or less like a district league table to see the top 10 districts across the length and breadth of the country.
And this is an ignominious list. You don't want to be on this list.
Well, you don't want to be on it, but definitely when we do our ranking, we definitely have to put someone first and someone last. So in terms of the top 10 districts where open defecation is practiced, the Nanumba North municipality is leading with more than 25,000 spots. Tamale metropolitan area, yesterday I learned a lot about this area and how This is a major canker there, more than close to 24,000.
Cosmopolitan. You know, it's a metropolis. So
you can actually have, you know, close to 24,000 open defecation points.
But it also tells you about how densely populated Tamale is and everything in between. So that also creates problems of congestion. And if you don't have the right facilities, people, this is a natural process that people go through. People will eat, and when they eat and drink,
definitely they have
the other natural processes will happen. And if they have to find a way of, you know, excreting or letting out this bad matter, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, there's also Gushegu, but if you look at the top 10, about 8 of them are all in the northern part of the country.
And that is a worrying picture I was going to allude to.
Yes, you can actually find just one in the Volta region, Ketu South,
Municipal.
And then you can find Ningo Pram in the Greater Accra region.
Sam George isn't going to be happy about this.
So Ningo Pram has more than close to 19,000 open defecation points. And if you do the disaggregation, you realize that it is more pronounced across the beaches of Ningo Pram. And if you do the ranking in terms of Greater Accra, you see that it is very pronounced in the Ningo Pram district area. Let's see the next slide that talks about the top 10 in terms of the beaches. Because, I mean, the report that Maxwell filed was about the beaches. So we try to understand the situation toward the beaches. So at the beaches, you find the Infantiman Municipal Assembly having more than 5,000 open defecation points.
Wow.
Jomoro follows with close to 4,000. Ketu South again is here. Shama, there is Gomoa West, there is Abras Asebu, Kwamankese, 2.7K. Ahanta West, 2.7K as well. Adan West, Ekumfi, and then the Wutu Senya, all featuring in the top.
It also
10.
tells you that in Ketu South, the beaches are a major part of the problem, which is why they represent on both of these lists, which means that if you're able to deal with the situation at the beaches, you probably would be able to bring some sort of a decline.
Significant.
Those points.
Very significant number. Let's look at maybe the last one, if there is. Okay. So that is the beaches. But if you do, yes. This is actually Greater Accra. Greater Accra, Adan West is leading, 2.4K. Adan East, so there's Adan West, Adan East. Combined, they have more than 4,000 open defecation points across that place. TMA, which is the metropolitan area, 2,000. There's TMA East, 1.9K. Ningo Pram again is featuring here with 1.5K defecation points. If you're looking at it on the Greater Accra scale, Lejukuku, around the Teshi areas, 1.2. Epong Kantamanso is around 1.1. Then we can talk about Wejagbawe, Ga West area, and then AMA, where we are 227. Yesterday we spoke about the is it Kote or Kote? I always confused.
It's one of them.
Yes, where you find that area alone more than 2,000 open defecation points in that.
I'll tell you of something interesting that we are yet to. Yesterday, when Maxwell Agbagba went to the Independence Square area, he actually found someone there engaging in open defecation.
And that person said that place is, low grounds.
And the person's explanation was that he was a passerby. And,
he was.
And there was, but you see, someone also said to me, if the grass hadn't been left to grow as high, maybe someone wouldn't be
absolutely.
Tempted. But I feel, when you get to the point where people do this at such a place, then it tells you that we've completely lost it.
Freedom.
Because look, even as we talk about our filth exhibition, in the environs of the Jubilee House, there was a time when many years ago, I remember, right behind the Jubilee House, there was a heap of rubbish. And in the close proximity to it, people can, I don't know.
And I mean, it's a widespread situation, especially along the beaches. It's not just open defecation, but also the fact that it is even being estimated that in some years to come, we'll have more plastics in the sea than even fish. So, I mean, it's a big problem that we have to deal with. We are all talking about climate change and all, what have you. In our own small ways, this is how we contribute to that magnitude of problem that we've been talking about, which has affected our cocoa and so many things. So it's actually a big deal. And the faster we look at this, I mean, the better it becomes for us as a country and also as a world as a whole. We'll be doing more rankings and then disaggregation of the data, trying to also, delve more into the sanitation, the dumping, refuse dumps across the country. So we'll be bringing you very interesting data, and then also doing some district rankings. So there will be a league table. Be sure to check it out on my Joe Online and see which district is leading in terms of open defecation,
Right.
and then also dumping of refuse, Ben.
Interesting perspective. Something else maybe we should be looking at, because I've followed it for a long time, how much we spend as a government every year
on sanitation,
on dealing with open defecation alone. If you look at the data, UN and other data, and how much we are losing to open defecation. Because open defecation comes with health consequences, and health consequences come with cost and pressure on our health systems. But I'd like to find out from you out there, what is the sanitation situation in your neighborhood, in your community, wherever you may be? We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 0302-211-692. I believe today is the second number we're using, 0302-211-692. Give us a call and let us know what the sanitation situation is in your community, in your neighborhood, where you live. And if at some point you have videos and stuff for us, we may channel that to the appropriate quarters so that we can actually have such evidence from where you are. And so that's what we're looking at now. I just called our number 0302-211-692, 0302-211-692. And as we continue with our filth exhibition, it's certain that a lot more will come up. It also points to the promise of Mr. President by the end of
2020. We missed that target.
Yeah.
We gave ourselves
Accra will be the cleanest city in Africa.
4 more years, and we are almost first quarter of the year. And I don't know, per assessments, whether we will agree that we are becoming the cleanest city in Africa or whatever.
I think we've retrogressed. I think the Greater Accra Regional Minister then, and of course the new nominations haven't gone through yet, through Parliament. So yes, still acting sort of. He started well, the Agbugloshi and other areas and everything in between. But then I think it died down. It quickly died down. I think there was political pressure, all of that, and more hiring and all of that. But I don't know. I feel we have retrogressed when it comes to cleanliness. When I go around Accra, and another menace that maybe we should be looking at, cows, cattle, and the rest on major streets.
Yeah.
Major streets. And some of them will defecate and everything. It's just a cause for worry. But let me bring in Baba. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Where are you calling from, Baba?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Baba. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bupe.
Bupe, right. What story would you like to share with us?
The story I want to share with you is, please, you people to try and tell the government to stop lying for us. To stop the lies. We are tired of lying. We don't have lies. Everything has been spoiled in the country, but everybody is afraid to talk. When you talk, you are going to face problems. So everybody is afraid. But look at what is happening in Ghana now. Everything is going wrong, and nobody can talk. Everybody is afraid. Why? Look at Senegal. See what they have done now. They bring young guys to come and save them. We should forget about this old man, Master. Everybody has finished his life, Master, and think about ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, but let's not engage in ageism. I do support what Senegal has done with 44-year-old Bassirou, but let's not say that the old people can't do anything. They still have something to offer. We have Mami from Tamale. Hello, good morning, Mami.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you? I hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm fine.
What are your thoughts for us? I'm okay. As we say here, we are managing.
When it comes to this cleaner situation, we can't even improve in the next coming 10 years. I don't think so.
How so? Why?
Because if you come to Tamale, in the constituency of Honorable Alasan Suine, Tamale North constituency, there is one big gutter that they started constructing. They were putting concrete. They started constructing it around 2019. Up to date, it's not yet done. And no one has been talking about it. The assemblyman has been quiet. Those huge people in that community, they can't even talk because they will be there saying that you are a member of the opposition party, which is NDC. I don't understand why these our leaders are now comparing this situation to JGM time. No, they are all different things to get out. Let's talk about present and how to develop our country, but not the. I saw one video on Instagram last night. And they were talking to Dr. Matthew Woboko Prempe, and he was like, this regime is better than, is 10 times better than JGM. You know, we are facing a lot of difficulties now. Instead of to accept your fault and we are there comparing it to JGM stuff.
Right, Mami, thank you for your thoughts. We have another caller from Tamale. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. It appears we lost that caller. You can also call through and share your thoughts. 0302-211-692. 0302-211-692. Kofi? But in terms of sanitation, I don't know, because even as we talk about establishment and everything, how about we ourselves?
The attitude, right? I mean,
the typical Ghanaian attitude, dropping things here and there, disposing of things where they should not be disposed of.
I think 2 years ago, the president spoke about this, and he said that he will not continue to waste, or let me not even use the word waste, or spend huge sums of monies to dredge the Odo and other, when we ourselves have not decided to change our attitude. Just imagine the number of times that we have to dredge the Odo and other, major...
And the cost of it.
Exactly. And how we continue to do it each year, and each of the years, they go back to the levels that they were, or they even get worse. I mean, that boils down to attitude, just like the president said. So we ourselves as Ghanaians, we're also liable. Yeah, a cleaner Accra and all of that. But what are we doing ourselves about the whole situation?
What are we doing? Let me ask Razak from Tamale. Razak, good morning. Hello, Razak.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right. I know you're going to be telling me about your situation, but if I asked you, what are you doing to make the situation better, what would you tell me?
Okay. What I would say is we try our best to clean our frontages and get to dump it at the right places rather than the indiscriminate dumping of rubbish around our communities.
Right. Well, kudos to you for
my
that.
problem is with the same Tamale North constituency, the MPP parliamentary candidate there has gone to gather rubbish from another area to come to dump it in another area when there's a designated place where he can go and dump those rubbish. Right now,
hold it. You say the MPP's parliamentary candidate.
Parliamentary candidate.
Right. Who is this person? But wait. We don't have any evidence of what you're saying. We cannot guarantee.
I'll send you pictures. of.
No, but when I say evidence, do you have evidence of the person collecting rubbish from one point and dumping it there?
There was a tipper truck with his pictures branded on the tipper truck, dumping the rubbish there. Anybody around
which part of Tamale is this? Which part of Tamale North
constituency?
Which part of Tamale North?
Kanveli Paumo.
I see.
It's just a new constructed road. It's not even up to 3 months now. Then they started dumping rubbish there. The whole place is a mess. If you go and see the place. There's a place at Star where you can go and dump the rubbish there.
If that is the situation, are you resident in that community?
Yes, I'm a resident of
Where have you reported this?
I just saw it yesterday, so I think we have to take it to the assemblies or the district assembly to let them come and see what is happening.
The Tamale Metropolitan Assembly should know about this. The district assembly should get in. Your member of parliament should know about it and be working on it.
Yes.
But Razak, thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We are grateful. You see, I was talking about we ourselves too. So here, the allegation is that this person facilitated this for whatever reason, and we don't have all the evidence. That's why I was saying that we would have to wait to get that. But if it turned out to be true, that would be quite a concern, wouldn't it?
I'm just looking at the motive behind it. Why will, a candidate or an MPP candidate or aspiring to be an MP decide to go and, get refuse dump and come and heap them at a place? I don't know the motive behind it, but I'm just praying that it's not as it is. But if it is, I mean, just like you said, it's a big deal, and then the motive must be assessed. And then also, just like you said, as citizens, what are we doing about it? When he saw this, did he report it? If not today that he's saying it on TV or he's making these accusations or allegations, has he reported it to any of the authorities to deal with it or to look closely at the situation and then find the perpetrators? I mean, he should report it, just like you said, and that's how we should deal with such situations.
Well, we will continue with our filth exhibition and show you just how clean, and now I am speaking ironically, we are. If you go to many of our neighborhoods, even plush areas of town, you would see heaps of rubbish. You don't want to, I remember going to Shukura some time back and shooting from there. You go to Agbogulushi back then and even now. And it's, how can we do this? To the point where even some cattle would be feeding on, plastic materials and others. What are you going to consume when you slaughter that animal? So we forget that all these things we're doing will come back to bite us. There will be health consequences, among others. We're still open to your calls, 0302-211-692, and not just on this specific beat, because we are also getting ready. We are winding down on the show. Other surrounding matters of concern to you, you can call and let us know what your thoughts are. The number 0302-211-692, 0302-211-692. Ransford is on the line calling from right here in Accra. Ransford, good morning. I believe we've lost Ransford on the line. Ransford, if you can hear me, do try to call again. Let's get your thoughts. The number, I repeat, 0302-211-692. 0302-211-692. Let's know what is on your mind. And if you have solutions as well, how you feel we can resolve this, let us know. Maybe you're an expert in this field. You could share your thoughts with us. Who knows? That leader could be listening, and that could be the change. There's also, is it Ransford from Takoradi?
Raphael.
Ralph, okay, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Senior. How are you?
I am okay. How about you?
I'm also fine. This morning, you spoiled my breakfast, pal.
Is it because of the scenes we showed?
Yes.
We apologize for that.
Yeah, I want to share my opinion or the contribution. One of the challenges that we have now is the timely evacuation of the refuse container in certain metropolis. In some places, when the container is full, the person in charge return the kit, those who are coming to dump the refuse. He told them that he cannot take the refuse and put it in the area, so they have to return the rubbish back to their homes. So the challenge now is the timely evacuation of the refuse container in certain metropolis.
Right.
Secondly, I think that, the paid storage in the community, I think it should be free, because sometimes you ask certain cases that why are you defecating in the bushes? They say they don't have money, and I mean, in a way they may be right, because their parents are not there. Because if it happens that when they go to those paid toilets and it is free, those kids who litter around or defecate around the bushes, they will go there and eat themselves freely.
But there are different sides to this. If you say that, how will the outfits, those public toilets? How will they be maintained, for example? And who will take the tab of that? And I also know that some of them are not public. Some of them are private. So there are different dynamics to look at.
Yes, but the public one is more than the private one. The private one are just you. And senior, you know something? How much does it cost for a government to sponsor to intervene or to subsidize those payments? This is a peanut. When you consider the money that, is being spent by the government, this is just a peanut. And this is the sanitation, your health. And it's your health, my health, because those places, everybody can go there at any point in time, and when there is a disease, will be affected. So it should be, a national, something that we should all be concerned. Not to say, only this community, Choco, Newtown, or certain impoverished areas. No, those places, sometimes you can visit there for a funeral or something like that. If the place is dirty, you'll be affected. So the government should take it upon themselves to deal with it. How much does it cost you? Subsidize 2 cities, 3 cities toilet payment. My senior, this should be, have a second look at. Let's all have a second look at this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, Ralph. Thanks for calling and sharing through. We still have a bit of time. If you're minded to do so in the next few minutes, we can take a few more calls and then call it a conversation. Interesting proposals and all of that. To some extent, I did mention some of them are private, not that many. And if this were taken on and made free, how do they maintain? Obviously, government would have had to intervene. But the point is, again, if you look at the sums of money we spend on sometimes useless things, okay? And the fact that you have such a basic need that everyone has to deal with, then you realize that sometimes we are penny wise and pound foolish. I'll come to you shortly. Okay. We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. I think the issue
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Augustine. I'm calling from Malam.
All right, Augustine, go ahead.
And I think we need to have a very comprehensive approach to solving this waste management challenges, right? Now, if you look at the main problem, I think our main problem is the underlying factor is more a poverty kind of issue where people are a bit financially handicapped and find a more easier way to dispose of the waste. Now, I feel that we should have a model where we should have a two-way model where I should be able to dispose of my waste and convert some into cash. So let's say that we have these plastic waste management companies. I have plastic waste to dispose. I get to the waste disposal side. I should be able to sell off the plastic, make money, and offset the other waste I'm selling. I'm throwing out. So if I'm throwing away food stuff, which will be of no use to them, and I'm supposed to pay for that service, I sell the plastic to them, at least use that to cushion the other cost I will incur, throwing away the waste, right? So it becomes a win-win affair for all. Until we have a very conscious effort to try to empower the people, both financially, psychologically, and practically, to adapt very practical measures to find out that, look, it's just an exercise in future because the whole underlying fact is poverty.
Right.
The financial implications that they are not able to meet. So they will find the easiest way to trade away. That's it. So we need a very concise framework, very comprehensive, where we have a win-win situation for people to be very committed to this situation.
Right, and that also feeds into recycling. Augustine, thank you very much. We may have time for one more call, and that's it. If not, we'll have to wrap it up here. But some very cogent analysis he's making there.
Yeah, I think he's right. And then if you look at the amount of taxes we pay, I know you are very particular about your receipts. So when you get your receipts, when maybe you go to your mall or something, you shop or you buy food, you just check the number of levies. And almost all of them have sanitation. I think even fuel has sanitation levy. And
I should think so.
Yeah, and the amounts we collect each year.
The question is,
Sanitation Ministry this year alone is being given a budget of 741 million Ghana cedis. Now, Ben, that 741 million cedis, about more than 500 million, I think 515 million Ghana cedis is going to headquarters and agencies. Guess what they are going to use to do? majority of them will go into compensation of employees' salaries. And the amount that's supposed to be used for sanitation initiatives is around 200 million. That's less than half of the entire ministry's budget.
It points to the problem.
Absolutely.
We have Ransford on the line. Good morning, Ransford.
Hello, good morning.
Quick thoughts. We have just about 40 seconds for you. Let's go.
Oh, okay, sure. I've actually been having an issue with ECG and then the PDS deal. We had some contracts with them, and then we performed the contract, and everything went smoothly. And that's about five years ago, I think. So whilst we've done all of these things, we were supposed to get paid, but we've not been paid, and it's been 5 years. See, they tell you, the graduates, that, oh, the government is not supposed to provide jobs for you. You have to do something for yourself. We've been able to raise this amount of money. We've done the contracts. We've done the job and everything. And still, ECG/PDS is still refusing to pay. You go and they tell you that, and we don't have money. And it's been 5 years. Like, it's over 200,000. You see the whole issue.
Right.
So we've gone there. We've had discussions with them, and they still say they don't have money to pay. Meanwhile, we've done that.
Thanks for averting our minds to that. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time, but thanks for bringing up that issue. It also reminds me of the African Games recently? And some volunteers saying that they had not been paid and they were sacked from Pentagon at the University of Ghana, the hostel.
I mean, some say volunteering gone wrong. I mean,
volunteering gone wrong.
Gone wrong. I mean, you were fed, you were housed. I mean, but once you promise the person that I'll give you some.
But this was supposed to be volunteering, right? You're volunteering.
But if you promise me, then you must deliver.
You promise and so volunteer the money.
If you go and do Kim promise, you have to deliver now.
Okay. You have to, else they will show you Terminator.
Absolutely. They deliver.
Terminator. Isaac Kofi again, thank you for joining the conversation. And we're heading into Joy News Desk now. My name is Benjamin Akakwa. I did this together with Sweetie Abochi. And thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned for Joy News Desk up next.
Cool.